Hey guys, I'm here with our first sponsor, a book I can't recommend enough, Healthy Made Easy, written by Mitchell Thompson. We've had him on the show. He's the owner of Self-Sustained Training. Great guy. He's given us a book jam-packed with so much information on diet, the effects on the body, what we should be eating. I can't recommend this book enough. Like I said, if you need a guide to starting a healthier diet, living healthier, this is the book has everything you need to start out. Easy read, jam-packed with information. It's available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Be sure to head over, follow Mitchell Thompson. He's on Instagram, all platforms, Facebook, everything. Check out his documentary. That as well is very eye-opening. Issues in our medical field, how beneficial a healthy diet is. I want to appreciate everybody for supporting the show. And go check it out. Oh yeah, dude, I got to bust out the old Ben Franklin's, man.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Dude,
look
yeah,
at those, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, those are not Ben Franklin's, dude. Those are the Nazi dude from Indiana
Oh
Jones,
fuck,
bro.
man! What are you gonna put that on me, dog? Come on, man.
That's what is that guy's name, man? I can't think of his name. At the that guy that gets melted at the end of the first Indiana Jones movie. He's like, that's the shade.
I don't remember. It's been a minute, dude. I actually bought all the Indiana Jones movies on at the fucking thrift store, dude. Got them for like $5.
Yeah,
all
DVD,
on DVDs.
VHS.
Yeah, dude. Well, I've been collecting DVDs for like years.
Right.
You know? I've only got like a nice little stash. I don't have like a whole bunch, but like I heard that last podcast you did with that man, I can't remember what his name was. You guys were talking about VHS, like that guy who makes them.
Yeah.
That dude, I went on that guy's Instagram, dude.
It's
that shit
crazy.
is fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
So does he make the boxes and stuff like that? Like the actual covers?
Yeah, that's like his whole vibe. Is he takes a movie that doesn't have a VHS tape, right? Like a newer movie, and then he makes a VHS box for it. But actually, that movie Alien Romulus that just came out,
Right.
Fox or whoever it is, they're creating a limited Romulus on VHS, so they're reformatting the movie to go on VHS, everything.
Oh, really?
And it's like crazy because nobody's released a VHS in how long? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even know people were collecting them, dude.
Oh, it's a big thing.
If I would have known that, I would have held on to a lot of mine.
Yeah, I have a rack at Sister Ann's Records where I sell. I have VHS there that I sell, like just on consignment. So it's my way. It's the only thing I can do to like get records is like hustle.
Right.
So if I want to buy records, I have to find a way to pay for the records.
Uh-huh.
So I spend a few bucks. I buy shit. Sometimes I take the cash to like re-up my supply. Sometimes I'll just, like the other day we went in, I had $100 that they owed me. So it's like, I'll just buy records with it. And then we leave there with sick records. You know
That's
what I
dope.
mean?
Where you buy them at?
Sister Ann's. It's
Sister
called Sister
Ann's?
Ann's Records and Coffee. It's over on 31st Street.
Oh, really?
31st in Gillum area, right
That's
there on the
dope.
corner. It's a cool little corner.
Yeah, I remember like, what was it, like a couple years ago, records were like popping, dude. Like it was like
Yeah, they
starting
still
to catch.
are, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them. I've got a nice little record player.
Physical media is like on a big comeback. There's a
Right.
big thing in the video game space about it. They're really pushing
Uh-huh.
because people realize like if you're on Steam, you don't own the game. So at any time, if Steam has a discrepancy with the company, like if Steam has a fallout with Activision.
What is Steam? What is that?
Steam is like it's like a game library site. It's like it's weird. It's like Netflix, but you buy each game kind of. So then
Oh.
it stores it in your library and you always have it. And there's different ones. There's Ubisoft. There's
Right.
different people have different.
I've heard of the Ubisoft.
Right.
Yeah.
There's different. They carry all their own games and sometimes they don't put them on Steam for other people. Steam's just like the biggest one.
So when you buy the digital copy, you don't really own it.
Right. So it's like at any time, if you're like on your Xbox and you buy something from the Microsoft store, Microsoft can just go, oh yeah, no, hey, we're not, sorry, we don't like this anymore.
Oh,
And that's
really?
happened a few times where people have bought skins from like characters or whatever, and something's happened. If it's like a streamer or something like this shit happened with this guy, Dr. Disrespect.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
I
there
heard
was
all
this
that shit. Yeah.
game that like had a map and the skin and all this, and all these people had spent all this money years ago. Well, out of nowhere, they're just like, no, thank you. We'll have that back. And then it's like, well, you have to refund. Like, you can't just,
Yeah.
and they got away with it. But that's like the new space is like people just want physical. They want, and like people are realizing I need an item for
Right.
the money I'm giving you.
I've never, like, I have some digital copies of like movies and like some video games, but I was always big on like, I want the box.
Yeah.
You know, I want to own the disc. And yeah, I don't know. I guess what the last probably like 5-6 years, that's kind of, or maybe a little longer than that, it's kind of dwindled away. Like well, you said it's coming back.
Yeah, they dwindled it down, but now it's coming back because people are like, no, I want to own that. Like the younger generation, they want,
especially records, dude. You can't go wrong with the record, man.
Dude,
and you actually listen to the entire thing.
That's the thing about it.
Yeah.
For me, if I'm on Spotify, I'll skip real quick.
Oh,
but if I put a record on, I'm listening to side A. I'm flipping it. I'm listening to side B.
Yeah.
Then I'm pulling out the next one. You have the art. You got the cover. You got the fold gate. Like, it might have something cool. I like very rarely, but there are a few occasions where I've had enough like store credit, like trading something in at the record store. Because I'm always hustling, dude. I'm always like buying and selling shit. I'm going to swap meets. I'll find something to like flip up. You know what I mean? That's how I get the things I want. I don't have enough money.
Which swap meet? Which
Boulevard.
One? That's yours?
I go to 63rd Street also.
Okay. The Nate Swap and Shop?
Yeah.
I like the Boulevard one a lot more.
Yeah. They both have their positives. There's a lot more like, for lack of a better term, I don't take advantage of people in desperate situations. But there are a lot more people that seem like they might be doing some nefarious things for drug money at Nate's than there are at the Boulevard.
Yeah.
The Boulevard, I have some good relationships with people out there that they kind of have the shit that like my vibe is, right? Like that you see on my show.
Yeah.
But it's I just love it, dude. I love going to like there's something about going and buying some like cool thing for like a fucking $1.
Oh,
and
dude.
being like, yo, I got this for $1.
Yeah.
And half the time I don't even sell the stuff. Like I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna sell this thing. I just give it away to someone. Like I was talking to a friend earlier, and she's way into music. I'm like, you need a record player. Like she's like, I don't have a stereo. I'm like, I'll give you a stereo.
Right.
I have like 12 receivers right now because some guy at the swap meet was like, buy all this stuff, Tyler, and I wanted one thing from the pile. I bought these speakers, and I bought like a tube amp. I bought all kinds of old stereo equipment from this guy for like $150.
Really?
Didn't know shit about the speakers. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, man. My
worked.
phone was dead.
Yeah.
Right. Didn't know if they worked. Nothing. Took them home, hooked them up. They worked. Looked them up, and they're like very expensive JBL speakers from the 80s.
Dude, that's an art, dude. A skill, like to know, like those guys that actually, the YouTube guys that go in and film their thrift finds and shit, and like they'll whip out their phone real quick and search and go, oh shit, this thing's worth like $300, and it's for $5, right?
I got it home, and then I took those speakers, tested them, they worked. The next day, they went on Marketplace for $800.
Holy shit!
That afternoon, a guy drove here from 3 hours away and bought them.
What?
Because he was going to restore them, and then they're worth $8,000.
Holy shit!
I was blown away. So I took, $150, turned it into $800. So now it's like, yeah, you can just have this radio. I don't need a jabroni on Marketplace with some guy just like me who's like, well, I'll give you $10.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
I'll just give shit away to people.
Dude, I need to start doing that hustle because fuck, man, I'm going down there to collect shit like vintage stuff. That's
most
my
main
my garage
thing.
is all from thrift swapping shops. Yeah.
I had so much. I had a ex-girlfriend. We were on and off again together for a long time, and we bought and sold together, and we did really good at it. And then at the end of it all, I was left with like all of this shit, just like totes and totes and totes. And finally I called up my buddy Billy Emerson. He owns a thing called the Bachelor's Laundry Company. It's like
Yeah.
like an invitation. Well, not invitation, but appointment only most of the time. He has a physical location down in the Crossroads. He does a lot of vintage clothes. Is his big deal. But I called Billy. I was like, "Yo, just come take all this and give me whatever." And
Right.
so he gave me a few $100. He took all this shit. We loaded his Sprinter up, and it's
Probably
been out of
made
my
like
life.
$5,000 off of that shit.
I don't know what he made, but I had already well made my money off of it, and I was just like, I was ready to have the space over, like the space and the, you know, the stench of Lord Voldemort, we call her, she who shan't be named, but just ready to like remove that, because that's when we were getting all the print shop stuff, and I needed that space. I needed that space to do something else in. I was just ready. I'm lugging this shit around with me everywhere I go.
Yeah.
It's like, get this out of here, you know.
Yeah.
Now I only buy for like me, like old van stuff, Frank Frazetta stuff I always buy. I'll buy records down there. Occasionally, if I find a cool piece of furniture for the right price that I want to keep, I'll buy. But generally, I try to only buy shit I want to keep, or I actually do a lot of, most of my friends, like, I'm not big on like, I don't need a gift for my birthday, but like, we're kind of on this mode where like we all know what each other likes, and if we find something and it's like, you know, it's like $5, you get that for the homie and you take it to him. You know what I mean? Like,
I think
here you go.
That's a better way to do it, anyways, than buying some bullshit at a store. You know,
Yeah,
that
dude,
no one's gonna use. You know,
I'm not a big,
or
fan
it's gonna
of,
break in like fucking 6 months.
I'm not a big fan of Christmas. I'm not a big fan of birthdays. People rarely invest. I have one homie, my buddy Eric. He's been on my show. You've seen him.
Yeah.
Eric is one, like, he's my best friend at this point. He's been with me for my entire adult life. I met him when I was 23, fresh out of college. We've been like this since then. But Eric knows me on like a deeper homie level, to where like he shows up, he brings some like, I needed one Bob's. I'm a huge Bob Seger fan, and there was one album I did not have, and it's this weird album. It doesn't exist digitally. It never came out on CD. It only came. There's 2 albums that only came out on cassette and vinyl.
Really?
And they're like, he will tell you he doesn't like those records. Bob Seger will. It's this whole thing, and I was missing one. I had every album but this one, and it's very expensive.
Holy shit!
And
how much are we talking?
Over $100.
Holy crap!
Like, if you find it for a deal. And he showed up at my house and was like, got you something in the mail. And I'm like, what the hell? And I opened it up, and it was Bob Seger's Noah. Not the Chinese, like, bootleg, not the European bootleg. It was the real,
the fucking OEM.
A real first pressing of it.
Hell
and so
yeah,
it's
dude.
like, damn, man. Like,
that's fucking dope, man.
Yeah. So like that's more, I'm into that more. And now I do the same thing for him. I find him rad shit. I'm like, yeah, here you go.
You guys had like a Kansas City Storage Wars going on then, pretty much, ain't it? You remember that? Remember that show, Storage Wars? When they'd go and they'd buy a storage container?
Dude, I looked into buying storage lockers. That's a whole...
That's a whole nother ball game,
dude. That's a ball game.
Yeah,
it's not a crazy price like you would think, but it's also just like, there's a lot of dirty business in it, because those storage people will like dress them up, and like they'll go in there, they'll make fake units out of bullshit to like sell, like not have to throw stuff away. You know what I mean? It seems like it's a real dirty game.
Damn, dude. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, there's all kinds of hustles. I'm an old hustler, right, dude?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm always thinking about what's the con in this. Like, there's always a con in everything, dude. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Most things are a con.
Yeah, I used to crack up, dude, when they'd buy one and then it was just shit, like Christmas lights and a fucking bicycle or some shit.
Yeah.
But there was like all these boxes, so it's like, oh, what's in those boxes, man? And you open it up, it's like dirty clothes and stuff.
And there's a lot of guys like,
because they don't let you look through it.
No.
You get to like peek and shit.
There's a lot of YouTube guys that do that shit for real, for a living.
Yeah.
And most of those auctions aren't in person. They're like online, you know what I mean? So you're just looking at photos.
Really?
But I've seen where those people are like, no. You gotta, this is not where we, this is not what we thought we were buying. Like, this is not right. You staged this. This is fake. Like, I don't want this crap.
Yeah, that show too is probably hella staged too, now that I think about it, you know.
Oh, all reality. I was a part of a reality TV show once. It's all staged.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I worked at this hot rod shop in Gardner, and they filmed a reality show there. I was on parole still. This was about 7 years ago, I guess.
Uh-huh.
It was called Gear Dogs. It was on Discovery Channel.
Oh,
They
really?
they aired 5 of the 6 episodes.
What
but-
year was that?
Dude, I'm not good with years.
Early 2000s?
No. This was in the like 2018.
Oh,
maybe?
okay. That
So
wasn't that
it
long
was
ago.
only like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was like everything was fake. The whole thing was like, it's like as I'm looking at them, I'm like, wouldn't the real show be like you just following? Like, because we were all nutter, like
Right.
me and everyone that worked there. Everybody was quirky. Like you couldn't go to the bathroom without someone throwing fireworks under the door or like locking you in to where you couldn't get out. Like we just fucked with each other. We had a
Yeah.
good time working and building cool cars.
Yeah.
And instead of wanting to show that, they created this whole fake thing. And I'm just like, dude, this is not.
How do they do? They just give you guys scripts and shit?
No, I couldn't be on the show because I was on parole and I'm a felon.
Uh-huh.
And it was right whenever some guy, there was some like thing that happened with one of the Discovery Channel shows where some dude like molested a bunch of kids. So they put out
shit.
this like no criminal order. They're like, no one with a record, no one on any sort of like legal paperwork can be on camera.
Was it that gun show?
I think so.
Yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
dude. I used to watch that show.
Yeah, so it was whenever that happened is when we were
it was like
filming.
them dudes, like them hillbilly dudes from like the Louisiana or some
Yeah.
shit. I think that's what it was.
I think one time they showed my hand and I was like, oh, I should sue them. 'Cause I wouldn't sign a waiver.
That's
They kept
funny.
asking me to sign waivers. I'm like, my lawyer's not here, man. I'm not signing nothing. But like, it was a deal where it's like, you just do I was doing a bunch of hard work to make it look like some Joe Schmo was like doing the shit I had done.
Oh.
So I was like, this sucks.
Yeah,
And all said
he'd
and
grab
done,
a wrench
I
and just
made more
tighten one
money.
bolt.
I made more money getting paid by the hour, like to work on the show, like work on the show's cars,
Mhm.
than the other guys I worked with made being on the show.
Really?
It was like a whole deal.
Well, at least
yeah.
it wasn't the other way around, because that's usually how it is. The other way around.
Yeah, it would
so.
usually, but yeah, no, it just was like, I was like, this is stupid.
I was just asking the year because I remember like the Discovery Channel, like back in the day, dude, like before like the early 2000s or like around the early 2000s, it was like all just nature shit.
Yeah.
And then like Jesse James kind of stepped in.
They did
and was
that
like,
American Hot Rod,
Yeah.
American Chopper, Monster Garage. That's
I
when
think
I
Monster
would've-
Garage was the first one.
I would have been like junior high. That would have been in the late 90s.
Okay.
When all that stuff started. So that's how I got into, like, we were already into cars.
Uh-huh.
I grew up in Bonner,
Okay.
west side of Wyandotte County. But all my buddies, like, cars were our thing. We were started off with Hondas. Like pre-Fast and
Yeah,
Furious,
pre-Fast and
right?
Furious.
Right before that kind of happened, when that started gaining traction. I had I had a 91 Honda Civic sedan. It was gold, had gold, like the gold brown interior, but it had a ZC engine, which is a 1.6 liter dual overhead cam, non VTEC, Japanese only motor. It came out of a Honda Integra.
Yeah.
Because in Acura is an American company, so in Japan they
I'm
don't
gonna
have.
act like I know what the fuck you're talking
Yeah,
about.
like
No idea.
well, in
Sounds
Japan,
dope.
so it's basically like a weird thing because we had every 1.6 was VTEC in America, so it was like buying a JDM motor. Basically, it came in the car; it was already motor swapped.
Pretty much what's in that Kia out there, right?
Yeah, but it was not shit, dude. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't really not. It was just crazy because it was this Japanese only motor, right?
Yeah.
And the car was like whatever, it's just all stock. So I had it. I was driving it, hit a deer. We used to go to street racing all the time back in the day.
Where was it big back then? Was 210 still popping?
No, back then we would go to like it was all Fairfax.
Oh,
When we
really?
first started going down by the GM plant.
Oh, okay.
They would run there.
I haven't been down there because I didn't get into the racing scene until like I don't know, like like around 2016. I want to say.
Totally different than I'm
Yeah.
talking about 2000 and like 2000,
2000.
99, 2000.
Yeah, I would have been like fucking 8.
Yeah,
So,
because I graduated high school in 02.
I graduated in 10.
Yeah. So like we were out there, you know, it was everybody cruise 135th Street. But I'm talking now there's some people that will go to these events. I know some of the guys that
Shit, now they're invite only, dude.
right. Yeah.
A lot
Now
of
it's invite only. And I've gone to a few. I know some of the guys that run. I know some of the
Same.
people that put it on. And I've been lucky to be able to go to a few of the races and watch.
There's one that I just went to that was out, I won't name where it was at. I don't even know where it was at. It's out in Kansas somewhere in the middle of fucking nowhere where they race, but real fucking narrow street, man. It's fucking wild, dude. Some of the cars that show up, man, I'm just like, damn, dude, what do you do for a living, man?
Yeah, most of those guys, like my buddy Jake works at GM, Jake Kaczynski, and Jake had, he got rid of it. He told me he sold it, but he used to have this car called the Fire Chicken, which was a twin turbo Trans Am. Then he had a Chevy Cobalt that they made rear wheel drive with the LS6 in it, and that was the Salty Dog. And he was one of the fastest cars in Kansas City, and I'd venture to say probably one of the faster street cars in maybe the United States.
Really?
But he did all that shit by winning races and doing events, and like works at GM, and his wife's into it, and she learned how to tune.
Yeah.
And like his dad and his uncle are the ones that got me into building
Is he the
cars.
box trailer guy, or is he driving to the race?
Originally they would drive to the race, then he had to get the trailer for because the Salty was just too much of it doesn't have a dashboard, you know what I mean? It's like it was borderline not
Fuel
Tim
cell.
did everything he could in the rules to make it a street car without it, like it's borderline not a street car. As far to the border as you can go.
Dude, and now they've cracked down bad, dude.
Yeah.
Bad after all the slideshow shit that showed up, man. Like, they fucking ruined everything, man.
Yeah, man, those kids, they just can't get out of their own way. They don't want to get in line. It's a big problem with the lowrider guys. They have a problem with those kids.
Yeah, I seen on the Fourth Fridays, they're always like, hey, man, no burnouts and shit like that. And then I think it was worse when they used to have them underneath 35 highway over there off of Southwest Boulevard.
Yeah.
That was a lot worse. Like they were out there burning out and shit. But I think they've been pretty chill at the bottoms.
Well, they don't do it in the bottoms. Now they're back on the boulevard over by Quick Trip now again.
Oh, really? Because I just went this year.
I know. Halfway through the year, they quit doing it in the bottoms. I don't know what happened.
Oh, really? Damn, I didn't know that, dude. Yeah, because the last one I went to, man, when was the last one I went to? I don't remember. I had a T-shirt on, so it was nice out, but it was this year.
Yeah, I went to a few. I went to most of them.
I was there when that truck broke down. Were you there? That truck that was hopping and it fucking just like blew a, I don't know.
Oh, that's Rob. The yellow S10 Blazer.
Yeah,
that's
I was
Pac-Man.
there. I was there that night, and because I have another YouTube channel called Mid-Map Moto. All my buddies knows we ride motorcycles.
Yeah.
You've seen my bike.
Yeah, I've seen that channel. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so I was filming a quick episode there, I think that night, and I was watching him. I think he was hopping, wasn't he? And then what happened?
They're down in Twin Cities.
Okay.
Down on Truman Road. I think he just blew a cylinder out or something.
Okay.
He actually redid that whole car in like 2 months and got it ready for his show.
Really?
But Rob's a homie. I've known Rob a long time. Joe that has Twin Cities, that owns Twin Cities. He's super rad. I worked next door at the body shop at Atomic Collision for Sean for a while.
Oh, okay.
Sean's
so you're over
friend.
there off of
Truman
what is that?
and
Truman, yeah.
Truman and
by the McDonald's over there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where Twin Cities is. But that's where Rob works. Does all the fab.
They have some kickbacks over there too, don't they?
Yep. They'll do stuff there. And then I think that guy Billy Hughes, he has Skrilly Vision. He does music videos and he films car shows. He took over the Fourth Fridays deal.
I don't know him, but I think I interviewed a photographer. And I think he does work. Does he have some connection with Tech Nine and stuff like that, or no?
Possibly.
Or no, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
It's very possible it's him because he does a lot of music videos for guys. Billy's a nice guy. He's cool.
Okay.
He does cool. His videos are cool.
Yeah.
We've met a few times going out to shows. I'll see him.
I seen Lowrider magazine was out there.
Yep. There's a guy that moved here. I actually, crazy enough, off Marketplace, found a bunch of screen printing stuff we needed. 11 o'clock at night, I'm driving out to Baser, Kansas on like a Saturday night, meet this dude in his garage named Los, and he's like telling, like, when people tell you like, oh, I got this thing and I got whatever, it's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm thinking like, yeah, okay, cool, dude. Like,
yeah,
you're selling me all this shit. Your company can't be that shit, it must not be shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking to this dude, we clicked, he's super rad, also recovering
that was a t-shirt
addict.
guy from Cali, right?
Yeah.
I heard talk about him.
Recovering drug addict. We hit it off, and like we're into a bunch of the same shit. And then he is like connected with Lowrider Magazine. So that's what he's doing that shit out here. And then he has this clothing company called Servants. And I looked it up the next day and I'm like, oh my God, he's got like over 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Shit.
Constantly is like putting out new merch and selling it. It's like a whole worldwide thing. He's like billboards in LA because that's where he's from originally. And it's like he just moved here to like, they were tired of living in a shanty. You know, same thing we hear from everyone from California, tired of living in a shanty and all that shit. But
moved to the Midwest for a little more freedom.
A little more freedom. But he's super cool. I want to get him on the show. He's got a cool story. About like coming here to get that he came here to get sober. And like years ago, and then he stayed in contact with the people here, and then when they decided to leave California, he's like, well, let's go back there because I liked it there. So that's how he ended up.
Dude, Cali's nice, man. Like I've been out there a couple of times. Beautiful weather, you know what I mean? I love the vibes out there, bro. I just, I don't know, man. I say I can't get down with the politics over there, which I can't really, but it's more of, I guess you got to move there and live there maybe, but, to maybe feel it out. But I've heard like conflicting stories. Some people are like, it's not that bad. And then some people are like, yeah, it's bad. Probably depends on where you live. I think
it depends on who you are, where you live, what you're into, what vibe
exactly.
you have.
Your occupation. Yeah.
I wanted nothing more my whole life. Every dream about me was moving to California, riding a chopper, and just being like a scumbag, like a punk rock scumbag. You know what I mean? And then I was in a band, and that guys in my band had another band where it was just like the three of them, and they were going on tour through the whole west coast of the country. So I just told my job, like, I was working at a car dealership, like, I'm gonna be gone for a few weeks. We jumped in a Chrysler minivan, hit the road, went to the west coast, went from Washington all the way down the coastline, and I hated basically all of it.
What didn't you like?
Dude, nothing. It was nothing like I thought. I didn't see a single hot rod when I was there.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get exposed to any of the culture that I thought was cool. And I realized, like, well, the scene's no bigger. We just perceive it as like a bigger scene because it's California. And in reality, it's not bigger at all.
It's
still this niche scene where it's like, well, you just make your... I came back from there. I've lived in Tennessee for a year. I liked Tennessee. I went there to like not sell drugs and not do crime, and I was there like a week, and I became the weed man, and like I was just like, dude, I can't, like, and then that ended badly, and we sort of cut out of town one night, me and my homeboy came back to Kansas City, but I've always like, there's something about, I don't know if it's because I know how to operate here, but it's not even like Kansas City, dude. Like, I'm a Wyandotte County guy. Like, I feel comfortable there. I could move probably to like, I don't know. Like, what am I going to do? Move to Roland Park and then I'm the shitty guy in the neighborhood? I'm like, what am I like? It's just, it's the people you surround yourself with.
HOA, fucking dude, all that bullshit.
Man. Like, I'm in like this weird, super like multicultural area of KCK, downtown. I live downtown.
You're in Strawberry Hill, right?
Nah, dude.
No?
No. Strawberry Hills for gentrified white people now.
Shit,
I live a little farther down.
It's changing.
Yeah, I live closer to 18th Street, it's south of Minnesota, north of Central.
Oh, okay.
But by the old cathedral, the neighborhood's super tight.
Yeah.
There's sidewalks and driveways, and kids go out and play.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, you're not worried, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to be down there a lot, man. I was in a motorcycle club, and they're from that area over there off of Central, so I'm pretty familiar, but still kind of don't know my way around. But I don't know street names and shit like that, but I know how to navigate on Central.
You were living that MC life, huh, dog?
Actually, at the time, we weren't an MC; we were an RC.
Okay.
Yeah, we were
Rider Club. What club was it?
The Padrinos.
Okay. Yeah, I think they're still around.
Yeah, they're still around. They ended up, I think they're the Mistecas now. So yeah. So they kind of shifted a little bit, but at the time we were underneath some guys, here in the city, and it just kind of got a little, politics, I guess. So I was just like,
I used to live
oh.
with my buddy that I lived with.
Yeah.
Dylan, he was in the L4 Steros.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's a weird deal.
yeah. I know all about it. I lived with him while he was
Yeah.
in the club.
Yeah.
I still know a lot of those guys.
Some of them guys are cool. Some of them are assholes. You know?
Yeah, man, it's a weird culture.
It's like everybody. You know, there's assholes and there's nice people.
It's like one of these weird cultures that it's sort of like the old way is dying.
Right.
And I think they're desperately searching for like,
yeah,
how do we remain in this freedom area,
right,
but not like,
yeah.
It's like a hard thing to like.
How can you be an outlaw when you can't really be an outlaw?
When you have an Instagram?
Yeah. Or there's a camera on every corner.
Yeah. So it's like, how do you live at, it's like, the whole thing used to be living outside of society. So did punk rock. Like, you know, if Instagram was around when I was a teenager, I wouldn't have been on that shit.
Yeah.
I would have been, that was the last thing. Dude, even in my 20s, like I used to not tell people my name for a long time.
Right.
Because I didn't want, if I didn't know you, then there was no reason for you to know who I was. I wasn't looking to make friends.
Right.
I was like.
Which is funny now because you have a whole podcast now.
Yeah, I was like really flying under the radar.
Yeah.
Well, and the podcast kind of came about because I wasn't the best listener. And I had got this stuff and it was like, you know, I bought a camera. I had this equipment for like a year fucking with it. And my ex-girlfriend, Mindy, she was like, hey, like shit or get off the pot, do something, like just make something. So I made something, you know what I mean? And put it out there. And then it was like, okay, cool. Like, that's cool.
It's a good feeling, yeah.
Good feeling.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, then it was like, okay, I'm going to do this again. And it kind of went and I was like, I learned, you know, I was going like, it started off with a shotgun mic and a camera and me filming Eric on a goddamn, outside the Weld Wheel building, like talking about his car that we built. And then from there, it's like, okay, who's the next person? And then it's like, then I'd start going and I was like really highly editing them then and like cutting things out. And I got, man, this ain't the way to do this. And it went and then it got to where it's like, okay, how do I make it? Let me make it look better. So I learned how to make it look better. And then I learned how to like, you know, then I started doing shit in the shop. And then from there, it's like, okay, but like, I want to be a better listener. So how do I do that? And it's like, okay, well, the only way I know how to do that is like force myself to sit down and talk to people.
Yeah.
And then try to really be present and listen to what they're saying to me and not think about what I want to say to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just go with it. And that's really what it was all from. It was like, I had this recognition of like, okay, I'm not the best listener and I'm still not. Like I fucking suck at listening to people 90% of the time.
Well, we're always going to be self-critical.
Yeah. And in this setting, like it allows me to like, do that, you know what I mean?
And then you're editing it too, so you're able to see yourself and be able to like, oh, I kind of got to make changes.
I don't edit anything, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like from the transitioning from beginning to end.
Right.
Putting every audio to video together. Yeah.
I pick a section. I edit the audio off that. I like a little clip. Boom, it auto links it. I record audio to my camera, and then in my editing software, it will auto sync it for me. Mine is, boom, chop off the end, chop off the front, drop on my title, put my little end cap on there, kind of stroll through, go, okay, it's good. I change a little color. I do a little color treatment to it to like, I mess with it to bring like, I learned how to bring the purple out so it like kills the sign down so it doesn't look like, so it looks more purple than it shows up on the camera.
Some color grading to it.
Yeah, I do a little color grading. Mostly I shoot it how I want it to look. Even when I go shoot cars and stuff at the car shows, I shoot it how I want it to look.
Nice.
And then I just kind of go, dude. Like I'm very punk rock about it, and I just.
But you see how you kind of developed, like, you know, you were kind of this like introvert, I guess you would say, you know, to yourself a while, you know, like in your younger days, I guess.
Always, I was an extrovert.
Oh, were you?
But okay. I was just like, I was more of a like, hey, fuck you, I'll smash your head against the ground kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like I was the life of the party. Okay. You know what I mean? I had the drugs. I had everything.
You weren't seeking like any type of attention.
I wasn't seeking that attention. Amongst the people that knew me, I was fine.
Right.
If you weren't in the circle of knowing, like you did, I lived like 3 lives at one point. I was in a band, I was in a car club, but then I was also going down to Quindaro and like sitting in a trap house most of the time.
But dude, isn't
like,
that the way to live though, man? Like you
I
want to
mean,
live one way
no, it was
your whole
exciting,
life?
but
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I like really like. Here's the deal.
I mean, maybe we could have gone without the trap house, but
Yeah, it didn't end good, dude.
Yeah.
Like it
but you probably got some stories.
yeah, for sure. I was fucked up on drugs for 10 years. I started committing crimes. I was smoking weed. I smoked weed from the day from the minute I woke up till the minute I went to bed.
Fuck, dude.
And then at a certain point, somebody came up to me and was like, "You want try this Adderall?" And I'd always turned it down. I'd never done coke. I did coke like one time when I went on that tour, and I was in my later 20s when that happened. You know what I mean? And then one day I was sitting there, and a buddy's wife was a nurse. His ex-wife was a nurse, and somebody offered to me, they're like, "You want one?" I'm like, "Nah." I mean, because I got a job bouncing because I was selling Molly at this bar, right?
Yeah.
Like they just knew I was in there and I had a liquor card. But he was like, "Hey, you want some Adderall?" I was like, "No, I'm good, man." And then his wife was like, "Actually, you'd probably get prescribed it. You're so crazy, they would give it to you." I'm like, "Well, that's all I needed."
Yeah.
And it wasn't long, dude. I was like doing meth, doing coke all day, snorting Adderall all day. Like,
dude, I never had an addictive personality. I've done all that shit. I don't know about, I've never done Molly, but I've done meth and coke and all this shit and never smoked it, you know,
Yeah.
always just fucking bumps. But like, I never felt like I needed it, man. The one thing that I did was cigarettes was hard. Cigarettes was a hard one, you know.
I didn't start smoking until I was doing uppers all the time.
Oh, really?
And then after
Smoking weed or
no,
cigarettes?
smoking cigarettes. I didn't smoke weed till I was like 21.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
But then when I miss smoking weed. Like I do tell people that. Like,
so you don't do anything at all now?
No, I've been sober 10 years. I tried to be like California sober for a while.
What is California sober, like weed only?
Weed only.
Yeah.
And then I had a heart attack, and ever since then
Really?
it's like, yeah, dude.
From what? Do you stress or fucking?
No, dude, like bad genetics, family shit.
Ah.
I had like 3 clogged arteries.
Damn.
And never went to a doctor for the last 20 years. You know what I mean? Just kind of always
probably
was
eating
like
poorly and
not
taking
eating the
care of
best,
yourself.
dude. Not taking care of myself. I was always overweight. I was super fat in my 20s.
Really?
Yeah, dude. You wouldn't even recognize me. I used to wear like a 4X t-shirt.
Damn.
Yeah. And now, I wore a size 46 pant, dude.
Oh shit!
I wear I'm borderline 34 now. Like,
damn.
But 46. Yeah, so I had a heart attack.
You're not a small guy, dude. What are you, like 6 something? 6 foot?
I'm right at like 6 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's big, man.
Yeah, but so basically, they got in there and they found there was like I had 3 clogged arteries, 100%. One of them had been there so long that my body basically, they described it as like, there's a clog, my body made 2 veins on the artery to go around it.
Oh,
so it was only like a 3% blockage or something. And so I had 2 stents put in, and then after that, like I got crazy anxiety, dude. And so like I would like freak out, think I'm dying. Think I'm having another heart attack, not knowing, right, what's going on.
You get like a little heart flutter.
And heart flutter. And then I'd get like, I got really bad acid reflux one day when I was working on my van out at my folks' house. And
I deal with that a lot.
I drove all the way out to, I'd never had it before. I drove all the way to McLouth from Bonner to take a tool to somebody, drove back. And apparently the whole time I was basically having a heart attack and didn't know it.
Fuck.
And so the next day my mom saw me and was like, "Yo, you look jacked up. Like, let me take your blood pressure." And she took the blood pressure and she didn't tell me what it was, but she's like, "Yeah, this thing's fucked up. We'll go to the hospital." So she took me up to this like St. Luke's and my blood pressure was like 260 over 180 or something crazy. It was high as hell. And so they took me to the main hospital, and then I was there for 4 days. And then after that, it was like, it's been it was a ride. But then
Did you start changing after that?
Oh, yeah.
That sucks that it takes you to hit that point.
Right?
Right?
Well, I just didn't know. There's so much shit I didn't know about food. I didn't know about shit. And like now, like I've been a vegan since then.
Wow, that's
and
cool.
then I started eating eggs occasionally.
Like so you're Yeah, okay, that would be
I was
vegan,
totally
right? Not
plant-based.
vegetarian, vegan.
No,
Yeah.
vegan, yeah,
Yeah.
no dairy. And then
Yeah.
I recently started eating fish again
Yeah.
because I think fish is
Well, because I think
important.
the vegan diet's good because it's like a almost elimination diet, kind of like the carnivore diet,
Right.
but on the other side, I guess.
It's-
You're eliminating all this fucking bad food. You're sticking to one thing, then you can start introducing things to
Right.
your diet.
It's no like, dude, I truly think dairy might be like. I think you'd have to really research where your milk's coming from and how it's being gotten. But
Oh, yeah.
I feel
The
like
big factory
that's when
dairy
I
farms?
started it.
Yeah.
I cut out dairy to start with because I noticed like all the shit they were telling me to stay away from, like the doctors, dairy, anything that had dairy in it basically fit that category.
Yeah.
So it was like that was the first one to go. And then
The eggs are good, man. And it's weird that more like vegetarians don't eat eggs
they
because
go back and forth on eggs, dude. That's the
they're
problem.
not chickens. I mean, unless you have a rooster.
They're super high in cholesterol. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
but I think
so.
it's
If you already have a heart disease,
there's different types of cholesterol.
right?
though.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just like if you have heart disease,
Mhm.
like that's their thing. Like you just don't. Also, I think there's like something to be said about too much. Like you don't want to eat cheeseburgers every day,
Right.
but if you have a cheeseburger once a
Everything's
week,
moderation.
once a month, right? Everything's I also don't think you need to eat meat every day either.
Yeah.
Like I understand people that eat
Probably
meat.
depending on what your activity level is or what you
right.
do. Yeah.
But there's like all these weird myths about food, and then like some people argue one way, some people argue the other, and there was just a study that this cardiologist showed me where people had cured their coronary artery disease by eating a plant-based diet.
Yeah. So
I was like, okay, I'll do that for 3 years. And then now there's like certain things that I just don't want to keep supplementing for. So they released a paper and I read it, and it was about how like the healthiest diet was almost no dairy, nuts, fruits, vegetables, all fresh, all that stuff. And then 2 to 3 times a week eating really fish that have like, what's the thing in fish? Fucking
what?
God damn it. What you take fish oil to get
omega-3s?
Omega-3s.
Yeah.
Like something high in omega-3s that isn't crazy in fat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then reading about fish is another crazy one, dude. That there's so many weird fish that we're really not supposed to be eating that have become popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like people would say that about tilapia. So I started researching tilapia, and it's like tilapia is just some like base term for like all these weird fish that are just like.
Or the big thing was there's carbon monoxide in it on the back of the ingredients label.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
That. Yeah, that's the thing, dude. Like, I always say just try the best you can, but you're going to be putting bad shit into your body. That's just kind of how it is right now, to be able to probably, and I don't even know if I can say that, to be able to sustain the amount, like the huge amount of population that we have here in the United States. It's like how it has to be. I want to think that that's not real,
Right.
like we could make it more ethical and more healthier for us, but I mean, I couldn't imagine having to feed in America alone 360 million people, they say, and that's not including, people who aren't documented.
Right.
So like how many people are really here?
Right.
400 million? How do you
It's
feed all those people?
Here's the deal, dude. We got lazy.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, that and too, like, corporations are making us work our fucking, 40, 50, 60 hours a week because
right.
the pay to economy, doesn't really balance out, and so people are having to work 50, 60 hours a week or, you're not going to be making much money.
Right. And so like now the big thing is don't eat out of a box.
Yeah.
If it's processed in a box, if it has more ingredients than like basic things, I don't even question that.
Right.
Like very minimal anything out of a package that we eat.
Yeah.
There's a few things that we do again for convenience, but it's very rarely. I try to eat everything. I've been trying to learn how to cook better. And then like,
but you're right though. It takes a lot of time.
It takes time,
you gotta like
dude.
switch
Every
up your
day.
entire life.
Every day you're cooking a meal. And so I try to, since it's just me and my daughter, I try to make enough to where like I'll have something to take the next day
Mm-hmm.
for lunch. You know what I mean?
That's
So
how
I'm
we
not-
do it. Yeah, you have leftovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, big on leftovers, man.
But man, it's there's something about it to like eating that way now. There's been times where it's like my kid used to be big on McDonald's. Like, hey, let me have
Yeah.
McDonald's. She's 15 now. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But then now, the more and more we're away from that, she's like, when I ask her, hey, you want me to go get you something to eat from somewhere? I've sort of got her on a mode where it's like, hey, there's better options
Right.
that are like made from real food. And like my buddies have a place called Lucky Boys down in the Bottoms.
Oh, okay.
So like I would rather go there and get her like a cheeseburger from them where they're like making the patty out of meat.
Yeah.
Then go
actual
get
meat. Yeah.
yeah. You know, just in anything. And there's a few vegan restaurants I'll go to.
Yeah.
I worry about going to a non-vegan place because I know like they use a lot of like dairy and butter and shit, and I'm just like, man, I really don't even want to. I don't want
or a lot of seed oils and stuff like that.
Yeah, very minimal. I only use like extra virgin olive oil, of course. You know what I mean, and lots of like I learned about like the dude. I only shop at natural grocers now. A lot of people have been like giving me flack about it. I'm like, dude, it's so expensive. I'm like, it's not that.
They're probably like, I never would have thought you'd be at natural grocers.
Exactly, dude. I see homies there, and I'm like, we can't let people see us, man. But
that's funny.
I got to know like one of the produce manager, this guy Courtney, and he was like telling me like he's always like turning me on to different shit. And one day I asked a question about something, and I was like, oh, here's the number. He goes, oh, that's not an I thought the numbers on those tags were like ID numbers for like a barcode, right? I was wrong. Those numbers on like fruits and vegetables on the little tag, that like it's like a VIN number. So it tells you like where it was farmed, how it was farmed, if it has chemicals on it. So if the first number is like very low, that means it's like horrible, that it has all kinds of chemicals and shit in it, that like the seed is like modified to have pesticides in it. So like I try to only buy shit that's like a 7, 8, or a 9, like, and really only are 8 or a 9 for the first number. And because everything in that they guarantee that everything, that's their whole vibe. It's like everything's organically grown.
Yeah, I haven't been there. There's one here in Liberty.
Yeah,
I haven't been to it.
Yeah, dude, it's worth checking out. Yeah. Also, go there and then realize what they don't sell.
Oh, yeah. And then see what you've been fucking eating for so long.
Go there and realize what they don't sell. Dude.
Yeah.
They don't sell Heinz ketchup. They don't sell soda pop. Yeah. They don't sell soda at all, dude. There isn't not any of the crazies, like the Ollie Pops, nothing. Zero soda in the place.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't drink a lot of soda anymore. Dude, I used to. Yeah.
Buying spices and shit. Best place to buy spices.
Yeah.
They have like a whole section. Everything's in bulk in these bags. It's super affordable. Yeah. Nuts. Buying nuts. Peanut butter. They make the peanut butter at each of the stores. Mm-hmm. So they have like a machine in the back. They grind up peanuts. And so it's literally just processed like peanuts ground up into peanut butter into a tub.
I guess I've been into a Sprouts and a Whole Foods. So I kind of know the vibe.
Yeah, similar vibe. Yep.
Yeah. Are they cheaper than Whole Foods?
I don't know. I think Whole
Foods
might be
freaking expensive.
That's what everybody says. I've never been to a Whole Foods. They have that natural grocers right there. It's on my way home. It's in Mission.
Convenient.
It's just convenient. Yeah. And then there's another one down on Metcalf, and I'll go there if I go to Micro Center to get something. Like I'll go there to get stuff. But
now I'm thinking about it, I'm an Aldi's guy, dude. Like for fucking finance wise, dude. But now I'm starting to wonder. It's like, damn. I wonder what's in all that shit.
I used to be in all these guys.
I mean, I tried to look at the stuff that I'm getting at all these, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not getting a lot of like the bagged shit. Like, I'm not going to lie. I do get some like fucking frozen chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
You got to have some shit, man. I mean, I know I'm not going to eat the healthiest, but I try to make sure it's like 80-20, you know?
If I had to get some like frozen veggies and shit like that, sometimes I'll go get that stuff at Aldi's.
Because it's hard to eat just super clean all the time, man.
It's hard.
It's hard as fuck.
It's almost impossible.
I miss Taco Bell at times, man. You know what I mean?
Dude, I haven't had fast food in...
You don't miss it a little bit, but you had a fucking
going on
life.
4 years,
Yeah, you had a life altering.
Not really. It sucks sometimes when I'm like out and about, and it's like, shit, man, I'm hungry, and it's like there's no like I used to stop and I would get fries occasionally, but then it's like, man, that's the worst thing you could really get.
Dude, I just was listening to Michael, the guy I interviewed. He was interviewing this guy named Caleb. He's owner of a gym. I can't remember the gym's name, but he's like a bodybuilder dude, and he was like, I didn't check this, but you know. I wouldn't doubt that it's true. He was like something about a certain amount of ounces of French fries is like equivalent to 20 cigarettes or some shit.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn, is that unhealthy?
Yeah.
That's insane, man.
It's
Because it's
wild,
cooked
'cause
in
deep
like
fried.
fucking like vegetable oil and
Right.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's wild, dude.
Yeah. So like, there's this place called The Fix. It's a plant-based restaurant.
Mhm.
It's over on 31st Street too. But
Mhm.
they that's like my go-to spot if I want something. They do a lot of tofu and stuff like that. But it's pretty good. It's very gluttonous for being vegan food, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now I got to like, they make these fire ass green beans, dude,
Mhm.
and they have like cherry tomatoes in them and onion, and they're like primo. They're like some of the
Really?
best green beans I've ever had. So now I'm just
Cherries
always
in them?
cherry tomatoes.
Oh, cherry tomatoes.
But I always tell them now, like, hey, I don't want the French fries. Give me the green beans, because I was noticing like every time if I'd eat them, I feel like shit afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't even want that shit, man.
Yeah.
You just get away from it.
Maybe like sweet potato fries or something might feel better.
Yeah,
As long as it's
possibly.
not cooked in fucking vegetable oil.
I think I might. I had like this weird stomach thing where I kept getting that. So I went to get checked out, and they thought I might be have celiacs, but I didn't end up having celiacs. But I think I narrowed it down to like, I think I might be allergic to sweet potatoes of all things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But now, like, we have fries. We just make them ourselves.
Yeah.
And we make them
Peeled
in the air
potatoes.
fryer. Cut up a fresh potato, little bit of olive oil on it, toss it, boom. I don't put salt on anything. I haven't had salt in
That
years,
air fryer,
dude.
man, dude.
The air fryer
changed the game, dude.
The best, dude. I cook tuna steaks.
I want to know what
in
it's
it.
doing, man. Though.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's just heat and air. Same thing with cold and air.
I know, but how the fuck does it fry it? I mean, it comes out crispy, dude.
Well,
like it reminds me of a microwave, but it's
it only does that if you gotta add it. It's because you're adding the oil on it still, like you're cooking it. You know what I mean?
No, I don't add shit. I mean, it's not as crispy as
No,
you would
right.
put it in oil, but
Right.
like it's still got a crisp to it.
Yeah.
Than putting chicken nuggets in a microwave. You know,
I think it's because it blasts the heat on, so like it cooks it, but then it shocks the outside.
It. Yeah, dude. I remember that air fryer came out, dude. I was like skeptical about it. I was like, man, I'm not fucking getting that thing. And then I bought one for her for Christmas, and I was like, oh shit. Yeah. I still have it to this day. I've had it for years, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm on my fifth one. I wear the damn things out. I started cooking baked potatoes in it.
Really?
Yeah. Super fire
Yeah.
baked potatoes. It was like one of those, like, I've been trying to like, I found a way to like make quick meals. So like, I'll make like a weird like chili, you know what I mean? Just grabbing shit out of the cabinet and throwing spices in it.
Yeah.
And then, but like, I looked up how to make baked potatoes in it, and it's like super easy. You just stab them with a fork,
Yeah.
little olive oil on the outside, like very like, just like, just rub a little on there, throw them in there, turn the thing on, flip them in 20 minutes, boom, they're done. Cut them open, throw a little chili on it.
Yeah.
Bam, you got like a 20-minute dinner, or 40-minute dinner, you know what I mean?
Dude,
Those are like 20-minute dinners.
You're like the healthiest cart club guy I've ever talked to, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. No, all the well, it's crazy because all the OG guys that I'm friends with, one by one, they all started having problems. Like Eric had like quadruple bypass surgery.
Damn.
Like he was like freaked out. Obviously, I would be too. But like that was scary because
What's
that
your
was
thought in that moment, bro? When you were having that heart attack, were you freaking out?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was in the hospital. Like there was a moment where like,
so like it's not like in the movies where you like, oh, and start collapsing.
No,
and shit.
no, it wasn't like that. But there was a moment where I was in the hospital, and like I'm there. It was like still like pandemic era type shit going on, so you couldn't have a bunch of people in the room with you.
Right.
I'm at St. Luke's South over off Metcalf. My mom's there with me, but then I had like that same ex-girlfriend. We had kind of like been on and off again, and we hadn't spoken in a while. I was like, yo, you gotta call this bitch on the phone right now because I might not make it. And my mom's like, what? I was like, I can't. I gotta make amends with some people, and that's one of them. But there was moments where it was like my heart rate would like skyrocket. They were having to like giving me Xanax. I had never had a Xanax before to like calm me down, and I didn't know what was going on. And they were trying to get my blood pressure down, and then they wheeled me into this like, they're like, well, we can go do like a stress test, or we can just go in with a catheter and if we go in and you need a stent, we're already in there with the deal. We can put the stent in. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I was like, we'll just do that one. Why would I just, obviously something's wrong. Like, we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
But when I went in there, as I'm getting ready to like go into this room, because they don't put you asleep when they work on your heart, no matter what they're doing. Like, Eric
Really?
had open heart surgery. You're wide awake.
What, you're just numb?
Yeah.
Oh,
They give you like a
fuck.
different kind of anesthesia, but you can't go to sleep.
So you're just hearing them underneath you, just poking
Yeah,
away?
so when they do the
shit?
catheter, like they usually go through the groin, or they ended up going through my wrist, like, which is the better way. So they go through like right up here, and then they go up through your artery and into your heart with this like microscopic thing, and then they put this like mesh balloon thing.
Oh,
in
yeah.
to
Open it up and then put the stent in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like the doctor comes in and he just looks at me and goes, "So you had a heart attack?" And I went, "What?" He goes, "No one's told you this?" I'm like, "No." And then he realized like they hadn't told me because everything was so crazy. They didn't want me to freak out. And
Okay. Yeah. Raise
just
your,
like, you know, fall out right
Pass
there.
out, shit.
But yeah, dude, it's like a real, dude, I had danced with the devil and death for a long time and came out unscathed.
Yeah.
And it was like the first time where it was like mortality set in. It was like, oh, I might fucking die right now. Like, I've been in crazy things, like the craziest things: guns, knives, shot at, hit by a car off a mini bike, like, you know what I mean? Whatever, crazy situations. Walked into basements I didn't think I was coming back out of, and like, then I'm sitting there and it's like my own body's killing me now, and it's like, that's how this happens. And so it's fucking.
And that's something you can change, you know, and that you did, you know.
And I mean, still, it fucks with me, dude. Like, 'cause not a day go, like, I don't, every day at some point during the day, a fucked up thought comes into my head about that.
Yeah.
Of like, is this the day?
Well, I'm glad you changed a lot of the stuff, man. That's good, dude.
Yeah.
And you found a diet that works for you. That's my big thing, dude. Whether or not vegan diets work or carnivore diets work, it's like, these things are out here, so try them. See what works with your body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said about, like, there is, like, eating real food, and, like, food
whole
does
food,
things to your body, right? And, like, you have to learn about what vegetables do what, and, like, there's all these things, and then you find this sauce that will, like, our bodies heal ourselves, you know what I mean? So, like
even me, dude, rice was giving me a ton of inflammation, dude. And I thought, you know, how I grew up, it's always meat and rice, you know?
Yeah.
And after I cut that out of my diet, and it's been, I don't know, 2 or 3 months now since I've had it out of my diet. I mean, I do eat rice every now and then, but not for every fucking meal, maybe like twice a week. And instead I'm just doing meat and veggies, and I feel fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah, dude. Steamed veggies.
Dropped like 25 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was literally the carbs that were just fucking me up, man.
Yeah, and like
but some people don't. I had a guy on here who was a bodybuilder. He's like, nah, dude, the rice is great for me. So I guess it just depends on
because they need that fuel to.
Yeah, but you can also get that fuel from fats too, like fatty meats.
Right.
So that's what I try to get it from. Whether or not it's enough fuel, you know, I guess it depends on activity level. But, you know, it seems to work for me right now. And, you know, my kind of thing, it's like, just go with what works. You know what I mean? Like, if you're living good off of salads, man, go for it. You know, it may not work for me, but, you know, it may work for you.
Yeah, and it's also there was like this documentary on Netflix where they like looked at the gut biome, and that was a really interesting one. Then they did that twin experiment thing where they had the twins, and then they put one on like a plant-based diet and the other one on like a healthy, like, was it omnivore diet? And they looked at the numbers and showed everything, and it's crazy the difference, you know what I mean? And it's like just things where it's like, again, I think people, like, they eat a steak and they go, I want steak every day, and it's like, well, that's probably not like good for you. Just like it's not good to eat rice every day. It's not good to eat fucking spinach every day.
I don't know, man.
Because eventually I think your body goes, hey, we need a different kind of nutrient. We got to suck nutrients out of something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never been on an all carnivore diet. I've heard a lot of good things about it for some people, like, you know, that I've had on the show, like Mitch Thompson's one of them. he had Crohn's disease. They were trying to put him on a ton of prescription pills. And like, I mean, he has a whole documentary about it. I'll send it to you. It's really good. Like, he was recording the doctors at North Kansas City, like the information they were giving him. And they were just like, yeah, there's nothing you can do, nothing you can change nutritionally. We just have to give you pills and it'll make everything better.
Yeah.
But for life. And he's like, well, I don't want to be stuck on prescription drugs for the rest of my life.
Right.
He goes on this carnivore diet and like literally just like instant change.
Right.
Everything back to, I mean, as normal as it can be with Crohn's.
And see, does he still
what?
Just eat meat?
Yeah.
See, that's wild to me. Like,
yeah, and he's bodied up, man. I mean, he's fucking running a business, that combat cardio place he just opened.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's, you know, and it's probably, I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, it probably depends on people. I've heard even genetics play a factor too in what we eat.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's something I want to look into. I had to switch insurance companies this year.
Oh, yeah?
Off the marketplace. And so I bought, like, it's expensive as shit.
I bet.
But I got like a really good plan with like the lowest deductible I've ever had in my life. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go in and get one of them tests done where they.
Is it still like $5,000 still or $3,000?
I don't know. I file my medical bills that the insurance doesn't. No, it's $500.
Oh, that's not bad.
Just for drugs. The health side $0. It's like $1,000 a month for the insurance.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
Fuck.
But
man.
my daughter has type 1 diabetes.
Oh, okay.
So I was tired of like. I was paying $600 a month, and now we did the math. Like, it covers so much that it covers so much that the other stuff never covered. That it's actually cheaper for me to pay the extra $200 a month to get the insurance than it is to keep paying for all the other shit I was paying for.
Because insulin's expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
That's fucked up, isn't it? And I think I've read some things too. It's like doesn't cost that much to make.
No, it's a very cheap drug to make.
Yeah, they sell it for ridiculous, like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. So like, it's around
people's lives rely on that
$300 out of my pocket every month right now for the insulin and all the supplies.
Shit, my dog's like $100 a week or $100 every 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It sucks, right?
They recently did a thing where they made it to where for the regular insulin, not the overnight insulin, the long lasting, but like the regular for like when you're eating food or anything.
Yeah.
They did a deal, the government did, where they're like, you have to like go to the company and become a member and all this shit that's free, but you get a coupon thing that like your insulin's capped out at $35 a month. Doesn't matter what your prescription is.
Yeah, I think Kamala was talking about that. Yeah.
But like the insurance companies, the last two I've had off the marketplace, they didn't cover anything. Not the needles, not the insulin, not the overnight, not the sensors, nothing. And it's like with a kid, if you don't have that thing on their arm that like shoots it to their phone that tells them their blood sugar, getting them to like poke their finger and do the whole deal, it's almost impossible.
Right.
Like we have technology, like let's use it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have those pumps. I'm not totally sold on the pump because I think there's too many. That's a lot of working parts that could go wrong.
I bet.
And you're talking about dying if that thing doesn't work. Like, but it's crazy, man. So I do want to get one of those tests done to check my genetics about like what you should eat and what kind of diet you should be on.
Right.
What you should stay away from.
Yeah, man. And the insurance game, such a weird. I mean, you seen that CEO just got whacked last week, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm back and forth on it, man. Like, I'm like, man, this guy probably fucking let a lot of people fucking die in the position that he was in running for the corrupt company he was fucking working for. But then again, like, I get it. We shouldn't go around fucking murdering people.
No, you can't go around murdering people.
Yeah,
murder is not good. But it should be a wake up to where like they need to like maybe a little more regulation on the insurance companies. They really fucked up health insurance with Obamacare, dude. And they killed like the free market of it. Yeah. And now it's like...
Yeah, because I never worried about fucking health insurance. Like, it wasn't a thing. Like, just go to a job and be like, hey, do you guys...
what's your health insurance? Had health insurance.
Yeah.
Now no one...
never paid attention to it.
Nobody has health insurance anymore.
Yeah. Or it's like... Shit, dude, the last one I had for a family was like $6,500 deductible.
Yeah.
When the fuck am I going to hit that?
Yeah. And that's what, to have cheaper insurance, that's what it was going to be. It was going to be $6,500. And so like now that's why I was like, this
I'm just paying them for nothing.
Like, dude, to have zero health deductible and then $500 deductible on drugs, like that's nothing for us to hit that $500. I'm gonna hit that instantly.
Yeah.
My hope is that after that, they're just I just walk in and pick the shit up. You know what I mean?
I know, dude, but it just sucks. Like for me, like, you know, my family, you know, thank God is like good right now, but like the only reason I'm paying it is if something were to happen,
Right?
You know, but I have no other benefit from that other than I think I get, you know, you get one free visit a year or whatever, a checkup.
Yeah. See, that was the other thing. This plan, like doctor's visits with your primary care, nothing. Specialist $15. Mental health all free.
Yeah.
$3 generic prescriptions. Like the plan is primo to where I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna get this and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make it a point to like, I got a fucked up ear. Like, let me get this ear fixed finally. Like, I'm just gonna use it. That's the other thing. We have it and then we don't use it. And there's all kinds of other crazy benefits that they usually have. Like, you usually get a free gym membership if you have health insurance. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that if you look in the paperwork and see like, oh, these are all your other benefits. There's some crazy shit that you get that you're like, oh, I could save $40 a month on my gym membership by doing it through my insurance. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I was looking today, dude, like all the memes for that dude that fucking murked that guy. Like, everyone's like, my hero, my hero.
It was the one that's like, oh, we were totally fishing that day. And it's like,
oh, yeah. He was with me from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
But on the other side of that, it's like crazy for people. Like if you've never been...
if you never had to be in a situation where literally a healthcare company is determining whether you live or not. Like,
well, no, that's one thing. But I'm saying for that guy's family, like if you've never had someone die to gun violence.
Right.
Like my nephew was murdered a few years ago.
Yeah.
So like if you've never experienced that,
I get
like
it.
on the flip side of it, I'm going, fuck, man, I couldn't imagine how that dude's wife and kids feel right now.
Totally. Like I do feel on
and
that part. At the end of the day, he was a human being. He was a father. You know, he was a husband. I get that, man. But I say this too. It's like,
there's like the devil's advocate side.
Do we feel bad for cartel members that get fucking whacked? You know
we
go,
that's part of the business.
Yeah.
And see, and the people like rag on me. I have a few friends that I've become friends with in the last few years that are police officers in KCK. I was working I was helping out mentoring kids at the police athletic union. But I say the same thing all the time. Like if you signed up to play cops and robbers and some cops and robbers shit happens on either side, that's what we all signed up for.
Right.
That's what I signed up for back in the day. I knew every day it was either going to be, this is how it goes.
Yeah.
Either you die or go to prison. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Eventually, one of those two things are happen. Yeah. And then you either keep repeating that cycle or you do something different. And that's what I wanted to do, something different. You know what I mean?
But for some reason, it's like when we see people in suits and shit and of these higher status positions, it's like,
you don't think they're a criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they're not. You know, like, and then a common dude comes by and does some vigilante shit. And it's like everybody wants to fucking, whether he was right or not, I don't know. I don't know the whole entire story. Yeah. I've heard that he had some back issues. He was like 26, some Ivy League student or something. Like, went kind of schizo, whatever the, you know, these media sources are telling. Who knows the fucking real story? Right. You know what I mean? Made some manifesto, you know, but
there's always a manifesto.
There always is, man. I guess he was like reading the Unabomber's manifesto or some shit.
Yeah, just some crazy dude that did some crazy shit. And also, it's like at a point there was nobody around that dude being like, "Yeah, dude, sorry your back hurts, but that's just fucking part of it."
But sometimes my conspiracy mind, dude's just like, man, is there more to it, dude? Are they fucking like how they found the backpack with the 3D printed gun and the fucking fake IDs? That sounds really.
I'm pretty big conspiracy theory guy. Yeah. I think on this one, this is just some dumbass. This is like a dumbass kid that didn't know what he was doing. Probably was in like
in that video, he looked like he knew what he was doing.
I know, but probably like in a manic state, maybe. But then again, when you're going to an Ivy League school, dude, that's where the CIA gets people from. Yeah. And like, who knows? We don't know, and we'll never know. Like that's the thing about it. Just like the JFK shit, we're never gonna know.
Never know.
Maybe in our lifetimes, like, when we're old.
But look how long they sold us on the fucking Magic Bullet. You remember those documentaries
Yeah.
on fucking Discovery Channel?
Yeah.
The Magic Bullet. It's like, what?
Dude, there's so much more complex stuff to that.
That's what I'm saying. So 60 years from now, we're gonna go, oh damn, remember that
There's
CEO shooting?
Like the guy who shot Martin Luther King Jr.
Right.
They say that he was just a patsy, and apparently that was like pretty well known even back in the day. And they still taught us in school that like, yo, that's who killed this guy. And it's like, no.
And then you find out the FBI was threatening him and all
the
sorts of
FBI
shit.
was like threatening with like
tapping
his phone and had busted him like stepping out on his wife and
all sorts of shit.
Crazy,
man.
dude.
Yeah, dude. The conspiracy and dude, I've always been a big conspiracy theorist for years, man. And I'm not one of those ones that's like, sold on fucking every conspiracy that comes out. But you can't tell me there's not a lot of fuckery going on, man.
Oh no, there is.
There's no way.
Also, like, there's not like some like grand conspiracy, right? Like, there's like bad actors, and like, it's not like they don't like. Was the CIA running drug money to fund the Contra? Yes. Did the CIA as a whole know they were doing that? Probably not.
No, there's probably rogue individuals.
There's probably like a guy that was like, yo, your job is to like make this shit happen. And his boss goes, just make it happen. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. And then that was his version of making it happen was like, well, these guys could sell crack, and then I'll take the crack money. I'll sell coke to these guys and take that money, buy guns to give to the Contras, and that will solve our problem. But it's shit like that.
I don't think it's kind of like any organization, cops, FBI, CIA. Like, I don't ever think it's much of the ones at the lower end of the totem pole, like the beat cops that are walking the streets. You know what I mean? Like, some of them are going to be corrupt and shit. It's natural. But I think it's at the fucking higher end, dude. Those dudes they're not walking around with guns and shit. They're like the fucking higher ups making all the decisions that are kind of moving the chess pieces here.
Yeah.
Because they're the only ones with the power that can really do that, dude. Right. That can fucking get these CIA planes and fucking run them over to, from Mexico to the United States. And
well, you'd be surprised what the CIA operators do, dude. Like CIA, like look at like I'm very well convinced that Edward Snowden was a CIA operator.
Oh, really?
I think so. Like,
and he flipped?
No, he didn't flip. He just I think he was trained to be an operator, because there's no way that dude has survived this long without like he's all but said it. Like, how do you get out of the country? How do you know how to do all this shit? Like, that guy knows how to kill people with his bare hands, and he learned that from somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, but he also shouldn't have to run, because he exposed that our government was mass surveilling us through cell phones. Yeah. And it's only gotten worse, I'm sure. Like, that's
I mean, look at them now. They talked about them failing like 7 audits and stuff like that. Like, they have money that they have no idea where it's going.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we know all this shit, man.
Yeah, we know it all.
And so where it's coming down to, it's like, why are we surprised when dudes are going out there and doing some crazy shit? Some people are just kind of getting fucking tired of it, man. And whether or not they're crazy or not, I mean, there's people that are pissed off, man.
MK Ultra and Charles Manson and Jolly West and all these people that are like the weird connection that Jolly West has to the Kennedy assassination, the Manson murders. Yeah. Then later on, the other Kennedy assassination with Sirhan, and then like the Unabomber, and then like he visited this guy in prison and that guy in prison. So the guy who was the head of MK Ultra is also
all these people.
Is also connected to, like, he went to see Jack Ruby in prison right before. Then all of a sudden Jack Ruby gets sick and dies. And so, like, there's all this weird shit, man. Like,
Jack Ruby was Ruby Ridge?
No, Jack Ruby was the guy that killed Lee Harvey Oswald.
Lee Harvey Oswald was the guy that shot Kennedy, right?
Yeah. He was the guy that came up to him in the police station.
I thought he got cancer or something like that.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so many fucking conspiracies, bro. Like, I used to have a podcast before this one, and that was mainly geared towards, it was like during COVID times and shit. We fucking went off the walls. And it was good, though, man. Like, I learned so much shit, man. Like, there's so many stories out there, dude, and it's hard to decipher all of them, whether or not they're true or not, man, because some of them are convincing, dude.
Yeah, and you just have to go, the truth, is there a conspiracy? I don't know. There's some things that are real. Like,
it's his story.
It sucks. Like, I was a big Alex Jones guy for a
Yeah.
long time, but he really did expose some like real conspiracies back in the day. And
Probably a majority of what he said came true.
And then he stood on business about the wrong thing, and then now he's like,
Sandy Hook
InfoWars
shootings.
got bought by the Onion. InfoWars doesn't exist anymore.
Really?
It's down.
When did that happen?
A couple weeks ago.
Oh shit!
They bought it them and the Parkland kids' parents all bought InfoWars, so they're gonna turn it into a satire site now. The Onion said.
What?
But Alex Jones, he's gonna come out with some new thing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he'll be all right.
But it's crazy, man.
But you can't win them all, man. You know, I mean,
no, what they did to him was kind of crazy. Like, and then that goes back to the social media thing of like, should this be an open air for anybody to say and do whatever they want online?
Mm-hmm.
Like, also, like, there's this game that came out we've been playing, and they have a world chat in it, and the world chat's totally uncensored. It's like the game's from like China or some shit.
Oh, really?
And it's like we've all been there. It's like, oh, this world chat is the best. It reminds us when we were kids. You know what I mean? When we were kids playing. Hey, I remember. Before there was internet gaming, we were like LAN partying Halo with each other at our buddy's house because they had Ethernet. They had fiber optic cable ran through this facility where his dad ran this Boy Scout camp at. And so like we would go there. And then when internet came out, they had high speed internet fast enough to like play games online before anyone. So everybody would show up there we had a bunch of TVs, like small TVs there. And then you'd set up your Xbox and we'd all play online and shit. But like
simpler days.
Yeah, we didn't have internet at our house like that, you know.
Yeah, I remember I think Call of Duty was probably the first one. I remember when the actual online gaming came out. You know, I had a PlayStation. I wasn't an
Modern
Xbox
Warfare
guy.
2.
No, I think it was the first Modern Warfare.
I don't think was it Modern Warfare 1?
Yeah, I think it was Modern Warfare 1 because I remember like having to go buy a router and all this shit. And I was like, how the fuck do you do all this?
Yeah.
You know, it was like early 2000s, but. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, whether or not people should be able to just get online and be able to say whatever the fuck they want. I mean, that's free speech, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's up
that
to
just
the
lets me
individual
know.
to
Like
be
I always tell
smart
people,
and,
like,
you
yo,
know.
if I say buck wild that shit,
Yeah.
dude. Like I just like tell people, like, I don't know, man. Like I just say what I've had. So many situations. I'm banned from like every super liberal coffee shop in town. Pretty much, I'm banned from.
Oh, really?
Which I'm not even like. I'm not like a Republican. I'm like more of like a fuck the government kind of guy, and like I'm just also like yo, just be upfront and honest, and like don't come in with no crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about your crazy shit, dude. I don't care. Like,
yeah, that's the big thing right now.
Do
that's
you
popular is extremes,
right?
on
But
both
just
sides.
do whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
but I don't.
Just don't
care.
make me do it. Yeah,
Not even don't make me do it. I don't care.
yeah.
Don't make that your identity because that's not. I don't give a shit. Like if your whole identity is how you're queer, then we have nothing in common because that's the last thing I give a shit about knowing about you. How do you treat your neighbors? How do you treat people? Like,
are you a good human being?
Are you a good human being? What are you into? Like, these are the important things. How your sexual preference, any of that, none of that matters.
That's your fucking business.
And people, until people started making all that shit their identity, right? Then, prior to that, all these things existed for years,
right?
But no one cared because that wasn't your identity. Like, if you're gay, cool, but that's not your. That's a part of you. It's a part of your identity, but that can't. If that's your whole shit is about how your sexual preference, and then I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, do you like what are you into? You know what I mean? What is there beyond that? Like, I need depth about you. Like, in the little bit we've talked, I know that you have a gym. So I know you exercise. I know you like to eat healthy. I know you like motorcycles. I learned all these things about you. And not once have you been like, but just so you know, I have sex with women. Like, imagine that. Imagine me being like, well, first thing you need to know is I'm straight.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing about
refer to me as he, him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I don't give a shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's like cultural. It's like tribal stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's like you want to be a part of a group, dude. And we're so disconnected now, man. You know, like everyone's just clinging to something, and this just happens to be the popular thing of the times.
Yeah, dude.
It's either race or sex. That's really what it is.
There's all like weird things going trends, and like it was like very trendy to be trans, and like now people are starting to realize like, oh, a bunch of these people were just doing that to fit in.
Yeah.
My kid at her school, she goes to Wyandotte, like they couldn't be farther from being politically correct. Like her and all of her friends.
Yeah.
Like
dude, my kids go to school here up north, dude, and they're fucking wilder than me. I'm like, holy
the
shit.
They say,
they're
my
in middle
kid
school.
says, I'm like, yo, dude, you gotta chill on that. Like, you gotta chill out a little bit.
I fucking love it, dude.
You're dropping the F-bomb a little too much, dog. And then she's like, what? I'm like, say whatever you want, but like, let's chill out a little. You guys are buck wild. They're all like, everything's like racial humor between them all because they're all.
But dude, we grew up like that.
No, we did too. But the thing is, like, it's not in a malicious way, and I tell people
it's all comedy. It's funny, dude.
I tell people this about like talking shit. Talking shit is an art form, right? And I learned this a long time ago. I've been talking shit since I was a kid. It's one of the many things that's like got me in trouble and out of trouble is my mouth, right?
Yeah.
And I know that, and like. The thing about talking shit is like, if I want to dig on you, I'm going to figure out what the thing you don't want to be the most is.
Right.
Like whatever is the opposite of what you are, that's what I'm going to call you. Right. So if you were gay, I'd be like, yo, what are you going to do? Go eat some pussy tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I would rib you in that sense. And then the opposite in the other scenario, right? So it's just about finding like the most extreme thing on the opposite spectrum of what a person is. And that will get under their skin because they're like, I'm not that. Like, that's how you get under someone's skin, right? But my kid and her friends like, yo, dude, they're like masters of, I didn't master that shit until I was in my 20s. They've got that down pat. And I'm like, yo. Like, we're about to have some good stand-up comics here in the next 10 years. Bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know, dude. I don't know, man. I don't know why everyone gets their feelings hurt. But to be honest with you, I see it more online than really in person. Dude, I fuck with people all the time, dude. I grew up in a mixed-race home. Like, I don't give a fuck what color you are, what you fucking identify as. I care fucking less, dude. I'll bust your balls. I don't care. If we're friends. Like, if I don't know you, I'm not going to fuck with you,
Yeah.
But it's like, for some reason, we like to think everybody is like this, but I've had a lot of good interactions with people of all different races and shit where they'll bust your balls back. I think for some reason the media has kind of manipulated our minds to think that everybody's so sensitive. I don't know I guess you've had some run-ins at the coffee shops. But...
Oh, I've had all kinds of run-ins. I'm banned from so many places. Dude.
Maybe I don't hang around those people, so I don't know.
Right. I'm around this like weird thing.
I go to Blip every now and then. I mean, they're pretty.
I'm not allowed in Blip.
Oh, really?
Blip, yeah.
Dang, dude, that sucks.
Those fucking people, man.
Oh shit! You want to talk about it?
Yeah, we can. I've never really talked about it
because I like their coffee shop. It's dope.
Here's the deal.
They had my bike in there.
Ian, the dude that has the motorcycle shop in the back is the guy that built that bike that I rebuilt and I had to redo.
Oh,
that's okay. Ricky. He used to be a really good friend.
Anchor guy?
Yeah.
Anchor motor
he used to
guy?
be a really good friend, and we were in a car club together. Like, we were really good friends, and that went south. I quit fucking with Ian because he took me and Nico for some money a few years ago when he was in the old location.
Yeah.
Begged me to come back. I started working at the truck shop across the street. I was going back. Then it became a thing where that place went from being about motorcycles to being about everything was queer and gay and had it very quickly became not about motorcycles anymore, which is fine. But it got to a point where the people that worked there would try to sucker you into these like crazy conversations, and they would talk to shit. The things they would talk to the customers about is like, it was wild. And there was another guy that I knew. I met him there for coffee one night. We were hanging out, and they were having this crazy discussion. And somebody said something to me, and I said, I don't think those are the actual numbers of sexual assault. I would hate, I would be sad if that's the percentage. And of women that had been sexually assaulted. They said it was like 90%. I'm like, I find it hard to believe that
statistics are flawed anyways.
Right.
Like, come on, 90%.
And And then in that conversation, I looked it up. They said, "How dare you look it up?" And I'm like, "Well, this is what the CDC says." They go, "Oh, you're going to believe the CDC?" And I looked at myself.
You believe them
You've
during
got a
COVID?
fucking mask on right now, man. Like, what are you talking about?
That's great.
But in that conversation, this other guy had said some wild things.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, I had told a story about, I was talking about 20 years ago. And I was like, yeah, I used to go to art. When I was in a band, I would just I only dated art school chicks because I could just go to like an art party and I just snatch me up a new girlfriend anytime I needed a new girlfriend. And that switched from that to like, I told this lady I snatch women off the streets.
Oh my
So
God.
one day the manager, Dana, came up to me and she goes, "We need to talk outside." And I'm going, "Okay, what about?" And I knew that she had already like thrown the other guy out, right? Because he was saying wild shit. Like Aaron is a wild dude. He's like a super Christian Republican. He was saying some wild things. But she took me out front and started dressing me down like I was a teenager. Oh yeah, you want to get that up a little bit?
No, I was just gonna back it up a little bit.
Back it up a little bit. Oh, am I getting? Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go. You should be good. I'll let you do it.
Sorry.
Get it. I'm usually the one doing that.
You're good.
But yeah, on my mics, I get right up.
No, you can get up.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're kind of above it. So.
Yeah.
You're good.
But she came out there and started saying all these things. You were saying this and you did that, and I'm going, I didn't do any of that. It's like, well, do you have any proof, or is this just hearsay? Or, if I offended someone, I'd surely like the chance to apologize or talk to them. Well, my staff they don't feel safe around you. And I went, well, that's crazy. And I said, okay, no problem. You tell me not to come back? And she said, yeah. So I called Ian. I said, dude, this is kind of crazy that you begged me to be a customer again. And now I'm banned from your coffee shop. He's like, well, I gave Dana full control. What I believe really happened was that lady is always on a high horse and she's always on some social justice shit. But I also know that her family owned this apartment building where the minute somebody didn't pay their rent, being black didn't fucking matter to her. She'd throw their ass out on the street. So I would tell people that she's a slumlord, guys. Like you're being fooled, you're being duped by a slumlord. You know what I mean?
Was this a chick that you were kind of getting into it with on Instagram? Over some bar thing? Is that the same?
No, that's another lady. I made
one?
that lady quit the internet.
Shit.
But yeah, so that happened, and then I just left, and then a lot of the people around me that would go there also quit going because of that. Like, and not to say it hurt their business. I don't give a fuck. Like that place is non-existent to me now.
Yeah.
I think it's, it's a weird thing to like be liberal, but then also be authoritarian.
Oh, I know.
So
and
I don't
kind of like,
that.
it doesn't go hand in hand, does it?
It doesn't go hand in hand.
Yeah, where
at
are
all.
the old school liberals at, man?
Yeah,
The ones that hated the government.
Yeah, that's
Don't
sort
exist
of
anymore?
don't exist. I don't think, but
I haven't ran into too many people like that, man. I mean, here and there, but usually everyone's pretty cool. I always like to say everyone's more centered than when they are right or left.
Yeah,
like, everybody wants to think they're on one side or the other, but usually everyone's pretty centered.
Yeah, for the most part. But that place is it's everyone that works there was a radical at the time. Everything was radicalized. But then down the road, those same people that were so terrified of me, right? They were in fear of me. That's why I couldn't be a customer. They come to my neighborhood and hang out all the time. So it got to a point where I said, hey, if you didn't feel safe around me going to the place you work,
right,
you've just entered Thunderdome. Like, you're in my neighborhood. Like, at my friend's establishment. Like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a psychotic ex-criminal. Like, where's your car at? Because you're getting a flat tire. Like, I will flatten your tire right now if I have to. But eventually, it's just like this thing where I laugh at them because they tried really hard to give me a bad reputation. Mm-hmm. Very hard. Like to the point of telling people I sexually assault women. That's what the guy that was the guy
all over a conversation.
Well, that was the guy in the back of Anchor Moto. That was his response to. We never said his name. We simply decided we were going to rebuild Jerry's bike because it was unsafe. Yeah. And I started making those videos about it and with the intent of showing people how they could just build their own chopper. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he took that and he gave me a death threat. Actually, at the end of it, like I called that dude like a man and was like, hey, we can talk about this. And he didn't want to talk about it. And so then he went around saying all these crazy things about me, but they don't ever stick because everyone going, well, that's not true.
Right.
Like if I was out here, you think I'm out here abducting? I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I don't have time to abduct people. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like also, where did this come from? You know, and then people realize that, so you just ignore it. When people try to cancel you, I've learned like that's why I've never really talked about it publicly till right here. You know what I mean? I just ignore them. I'm like, you're fucking stupid.
Nobody... why do you have to make I see people making apology videos and shit.
Yeah, like I'm not apologizing for shit.
That really irritated me when Rogan made that apology video, dude. Yeah. It's like, bro, really? Like, come on, bro. We all seen the videos. We knew you weren't using the word that way. Why the fuck do you have to do that? But you know, that's whatever he wants to do. $300
million from Spotify. They probably asked him to do it. Right. I get it.
I think it was before the Spotify days.
It might have been.
Yeah, I think it was still on YouTube.
But yeah, I've
seen it. I've actually seen that guy on a podcast one time. I forgot what the podcast name was, but I watched it because I was interested in interviewing him, you know, because he builds, you know, pretty cool bikes back there from what I've seen. But when I was listening to him, dude, I don't know, he was just kind of like very emotional, you know what I mean? Like talking about, I don't know how I got brought up Nazis, but he starts talking about like, I'm going to fucking punch Nazis in the face. He was getting all crazy. Well, it's crazy. Shit.
I have this
and the guy was like, do you know how to fight? And he's like, are you a trainer? Like, he was asking him questions like that because the guy does jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was just a weird back and forth. And it was just kind of like it was just awkward, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know why he was getting
He's a total phony. I have like a video that I secretly filmed of him in his garage when his shop was at his house, of him explaining to me why it was okay for him to call people the N-word.
Oh, really?
And I was like, dude, you're like, that was like the beginning of me going, hey, I'm not cool with you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not about that shit. For real, I'm not about that shit.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? And like...
Well, then why does he act like
right. Because that's what I was told people. And then I always wondered why his arm was totally blacked out from tattoos. And it started making more sense. He's a white, half Hispanic kid from Southern California in the 80s, right? Like, I'm sure he was into some Nazi shit or something. I don't know.
Being half Hispanic, too? That's kind of weird.
Yeah, but that's Southern California for you. You know what I mean? They're all weird. Nazi lowriders and shit. Like... But like, I'm just not into it, man. Like, I'm not into that vibe. That guy, he's, you know, he made some crazy video directed at me on his Instagram where he's like, nobody likes this guy and this and that. He said all this wild shit. And then in reality, I have an inbox full of people that I've become friends with now who also got taken by him for the same $3,000, just like Jerry did. Yeah, that guy ripped me off for $3,000 too. Oh, this guy ripped me off. Oh, he ripped me off. And I'm going, Jesus Christ, this many people, huh? And that's why I told Jerry, I was like, well, I don't give a shit, dude. And then at all said and done, that guy will be at the coffee shop, or he'll be at the record store, and like, he's seen me all over town and he talks all this shit, but when he sees me in person, he doesn't say anything. That's not to say I'm some kind of tough guy, but it's like, if you had that big of a problem, dude, why don't you like, put up or shut up? Like,
yeah, but you're also the type of guy that's trying to mind his own fucking business. You know what I mean? Live your own life. And I'm not trying to judge this guy because I don't know him, but from what I've seen on the interview, and you know, it's hard to base somebody who they are off of one interview, but he tried to act like a tough guy, you know, like, I'll fucking punch you in the fucking face if you say some shit in front of me and all this stuff, which, you know, I'm not for any fucking Nazis either, but how many fucking Nazis are walking around town, you know?
That's what I tell people. They're like, real Nazis have been gone for a while. Like, there's a bunch of idiots maybe, but
and like, majority of people are stereotypical, dude, you know? So if you're going to call stereotypes fucking racist, then you're just watering down the word. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. It's, he's, you know, none of the OG friends hang out with him really. He's ripped off everyone that we know. Like, that's the main reason I quit I quit being friends with him, because I didn't agree with the way he treats people and the way he, like, watching someone time and time again take advantage of people. It's just like, dude, I can't keep doing this. You know, in all the years I've done work on bikes and cars, I have one guy, and that happened in the last few months, that I basically had to go, yeah, I can't help you anymore. Like, this is to a point where it's an old biker dude. The paint job was never good enough. And I redid it 4 times. And after the 4th time, I said, dude, I told you I didn't want to do this again. And I know what you're doing. You want your money back, because then all of a sudden, once you give them their money back, the paint job's fine. and they'll run it. And I said, I'm not doing that. So you can motherfuck me all over town, but you're the last custom paint job I'm ever doing. I'm not doing this shit for people anymore.
Should have fucking sanded that fucking paint right off, dude.
I was real close to doing that, but I was just like, I don't want to deal with you anymore, man.
Yeah.
And they always try to threaten you. And it's like, I don't care about your veiled threats, dude. You're just some like weird old drunk biker dude that's never... You've just been this guy. You worked a job your whole life. Like, we're not the same person, man. I don't... Your threats don't scare. I'm not scared of that shit. Like,
yeah, and that's kind of back on that conversation I was talking about club shit, man. Like, you know, I'm seeing it even around town, you know, like when it comes to the motorcycle scene, like around in different states. Like, there's guys like leaving clubs and kind of going on podcasts and like kind of talking about like really what's going on. It's like... You know, some of them are cool, dude, but some of these guys just kind of act like fucking tough guys, man. Yeah. It's like a little too much. You know what I mean? And I never had issues with the guys I was with. They were all good guys. But I kind of seen some of that shit throughout town. And I'm just like, man, I don't know if I'm with that vibe, dude. Maybe I'll step away and I'll let you guys do your own thing. You know, whatever you guys want to do. And, you know, not the club I was in, but some of the guys that, you know, were kind of around. I was like... I don't really want to be near that stuff, man. So let me go kind of do my own thing.
Yeah, man. Know? It's like I'm still friends with some of those people, and it's like cool, but like,
are you still in a car club?
No, I got kicked out of the car club.
Oh, really?
I was too serious about it back then. Like I was just on one.
It's hard to get a bunch of guys together,
dude,
man.
I was just on one. That was on me. Like I don't have any ill will about it.
That's cool though. You own up to it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on my own trip. Like it sucked. It was at a time where like I felt betrayed by some people because some of them still, it's been like a lot of weird shit. And that's the car club that puts on Greaserama, the punk rods, Los Punk Rods. Mm-hmm. But, and then even after that, like Todd, the guy who started it, the president, he passed away from cancer. And him and I were on solid terms. Even when he passed, like we talked and I was good with that. And he was the dude that like kind of told me like, yo, I would get in trouble. Yeah. And he like, yo, don't give an inch to these fucking people. Like, just keep being yourself, and you'll figure it out eventually how to do it and not get in trouble. And that's what I started doing. And,
right.
But some of those guys, man, they really like, you know, when you're down bad. I've seen it in the motorcycle thing too. Mm. You know, you see a guy struggling with addiction or something, and their answer is "Get the fuck out of here." It's never like, "Yo, this guy's supposed to be your brother." Dude. Yeah. Like, you're not even trying to help him
out.
Yeah, you didn't even help him at all. It was just one sign of some shit, and he's gone.
Sometimes it's hard to help drug addicts, man. You know
I know that too because I've been one, so I know.
I've had a lot of friends that are, you know, that still are to this day, and it's like. You want to help them out as much as you can, but they don't give a fuck, dude, when they're in that stage. You know, they can't even stop themselves.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of like you kind of got to let them go and hope that they make it out of that fucking, not everyone. Some people can get help and turn their lives around, but usually it's like you hit that fucking rough spot in life where you're finally hit rock bottom and then you kind of turn around, you know?
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, man, and that's what happened to me. I got in trouble. I essentially kidnapped a dude and we robbed him. And that guy went to the police. He was a drug dealer, and I got arrested that night.
Really?
Came to in a, you know, didn't know how many hours I was in an interrogation room by myself. Came to with them having a statement signed by the guy I got in trouble with saying that he left his apartment and I was in there and fucking that guy was telling him he got robbed after he came back. And I was like, well, this guy just sold me into the fucking river. And
it's usually what happens.
So I just decided in that moment I was going to quit lying. Not like to myself first and foremost, because that's what had been going on. I was just lying to myself about everything.
Right.
And then through dumb luck, like they changed the law. That guy ended up taking a plea deal. He got me a message saying, hey, take the plea deal they're going to give you. I'm cool with it. I said, okay. It gave me like a downward departure. So I was looking at 20 years in prison. It brought me down 2 spots. So I was looking at 6 years or 66 months, something like that, maximum. Went in. Took the plea, got them to let me out on bond. Did that to put myself into drug rehab through the state of Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Was walking like 4 miles to the bus from my parents' house every day, riding the bus from the Legends all the way down to 18th and State.
Oh shit.
And then doing the same thing to go back home. Did that. Started going to AA. Went to go get sentenced. And unbeknownst to me, the dude from the drug rehab they were going to send me to prison. And then the guy from the drug rehab knew the judge and knew the prosecutor, and he stood in the back room for an hour before my trial. I had no idea till later, just begging them to not send me to prison because he thought I could. Yeah. I had a good chance of like turning it around, and he thought I was helping people just by being at the rehab. So they put me on this straight to parole program, and I did that and walked the paper down 5 years straight.
Nice.
No bullshit. Couldn't leave. Now I have a felony on my record. I get pulled over all the time still. Like, people want to talk about persecution. Like, that's real shit. And I brought it on myself, but like, it was a real deal. Like, you can't rent.
There's a point, dude. Like, it's like, depending on the crime, it's like you paid your debt or whatever you had to do to, like, it should fall off your record.
Frustrating. I get mad and I go, well, how many fucking years does it have to be since I
how long does
committed
it
a
have to
crime?
stay on?
It's been 10 years. Like,
it's still on there.
It's still. Oh yeah. But how long does it have to be before a cop doesn't immediately like reach for the gun and go, put your hands on the wheel? What do you got in here? It's
and
like,
you're not driving the most inconspicuous vehicle either.
Hey, yeah, that's it. Like, if I would be way more inconspicuous if I was committing crimes. I wouldn't be blasting around in some like customized van. You know what I mean? Like,
bro, you need to get you a fucking, I don't know, a Toyota Camry or some shit.
I've been trying to get a Honda CRX again, but I can't find one. Oh man,
that's crazy, man.
I guess I should talk about the print shop, huh?
Yeah, yeah, man. Talk to me about it.
So Nico and I have a print shop now, screen printing shop.
Yeah.
That's sort of a new thing. Legit business. Like, it's like we have an LLC, we got a accountant, all that shit. We're not making money at it for ourselves. It's paying for itself.
Yeah.
We've been building that shop space, but it's been cool, dude. It's like
that's
one
good
of those
though.
things.
At least it's paying itself.
Yeah. And we're going to keep pushing. We're determined to turn it into something, and I think we will, but it's cool. This is like one of our designs that I came up with years ago.
Dope.
I've had this sitting around, and so we've been printing up our own line of stuff, and we have our website, which is zoinkpad.com. People keep freaking out about the name. They're like, what the hell does that even mean? I'm like, oh, it's print apparel design. Like, that's the pad part. So people are like, oh, now it makes sense. Like, but it's cool. We're going to start doing a bunch of shit at our shop space that we've been building.
Yeah.
We're going to do some classes like how to pinstripe, like bring in some of our other shit that we do to that. But
there was just a guy here not too long ago that was like a real like legend in the pinstriping. I don't know what his name was. I think he was at that Atomic place doing like a seminar or some shit.
Oh yeah. They did that how to custom paint class. What the hell is that guy's name?
I can't remember. It's a white dude, ain't it?
Yeah, he's like a white cello guy from Arizona.
Oh, Arizona.
I think he's in Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah,
that guy's like a real well-known lowrider painter. But that was at Atomic. Yep.
Do you do pinstriping and all that stuff?
No, I don't pinstripe.
Okay.
I airbrush
but you paint
some
it.
shit. Yeah, I paint.
Okay.
I do custom paint, body work.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of your videos. Yeah, that's pretty dope, man. Yeah, dude.
I love cars, dude. I love automotive shit. I rode bikes forever.
Is that all you've done?
My whole life?
Yeah.
Yeah, since I was like 15, I've only ever worked on cars.
That's dope, dude.
Sold
you don't
drugs.
ever get burnt out? Yeah.
Sold drugs. No, I do.
Almost go hand in hand.
I'm getting burnt out now. Like, if I was in collision, I would maybe be less burnt out on the old stuff, but it's becoming hard for me to work on my own cars.
Mm-hmm.
That's becoming a problem.
Well, because you do it for your occupation. So it's like you want to go home and do work.
Right.
It's like,
for sure.
It was more better probably when it was a hobby.
Yeah. Well, and it's always been in my occupation, but I lose the love of it, like to where like I'm discouraged because I have a 75 Chevy van I've had for years, and I've got it in the shop spot at work that I've been working on it, but it's like hard to get motivated.
Right.
And then I spent a year working on Jerry's bike when I should have been working on my shit.
Right.
It's been a whole thing. But.
Yeah. And dude, how's the t-shirt market, man? Like, how is that?
Shit.
You're good.
Bumped the table.
You're good.
I broke the rules.
Yeah, you're all good, man. You're all good.
T-shirt's cool. It's like it's a hit or miss thing. there's a lot of printing that needs to be done. Like there is shit, and I've been trying to learn that. You know what I mean? I've been trying to learn the market and learn. You know, I've always been a good business guy, I guess, because of knowing about the you know, like selling drugs, doing anything. You know what I mean? You learn how to. That's just business, no matter what. It's buying something and selling it, and that's essentially what you're doing. But I'm looking into it. I've honestly been thinking about like looking into government contracts to see if there's anything in that space where we could get something going. There's all kinds of shit involved with screen printing. We started making posters. There's shirts. There's hats. There's all kinds of shit.
Or you could go the opposite route and make fuck the government shirts.
Yeah. I've been trying to get Sean to sign on as letting us do his white trash balling brand. That's it. Trying to find some brands to work with, working with some local vintage people. So we've been growing.
Yeah, because you guys, I mean, you're making shirts, you know, like this, but like, do you guys open to making anything?
Oh, yeah. If you wanted shirts for your business, we can make that. We do whatever. We do a lot of shit that we don't put up because it's just like, you know, it's like shit for a company. You know what I mean?
No, that's fucking dope, dude. And then I seen you did like a car show not that long ago. Are you going to start doing that once a year?
Oh, yeah. We do that twice a year. Dude,
twice a year?
I hate to. Is there a bathroom?
Oh, yeah. No, we can break.
All right. That's how I've set up my audio video. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't. For some reason, I don't need to do that. I used to do that a lot, but like I stopped doing it, and it still syncs it.
No, mine syncs it off the wave, but I've always just done it because sometimes I fuck up and I forget to put the audio on the camera on because I'll have gone to a car show and had it through like the mic or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So I'll forget and then I'll get back into it and be like, oh God, son of a bitch. So then those are the ones that take me a while because I'm like, I have like this speed editor thing so I can like track it frame by frame. So I'll be like barely pushing shit left and right, you know?
That's dope.
But yeah. All right. The car shows.
Yeah, car shows.
Let's talk about car shows. Yeah. So we do 2 car shows a year.
When did you start that? Because I thought this was recent.
Okay. So we started a year ago.
Okay.
On Labor Day weekend.
Okay. So
Greaserama went down to being one day. It's Friday and Saturday.
I haven't been to Greaserama. I have a buddy that goes down there.
Yeah, it used to be at that was the car club I was in. It used to be at the Boulevard Drive-In.
I think he's got he rides like mini bikes and shit.
Yeah, big mini bikes.
Yeah, his name's Bing. I don't know if you know him. Bing. Yeah, Chris Miller.
Oh, I know Chris. I'm actually, dude.
Yeah, he's my cousin. Yeah.
That's how I know you. Because all this time I'm going, I know this guy from somewhere. I think I met you out somewhere.
Oh, really?
At a car show.
Okay. Because
I was talking to Chris and I think you walked up and he introduced us one time.
Maybe, yeah.
Do you go to the KC Showdown car shows?
Yeah. Well, I didn't go to last year's. I missed it. Sometimes I do these fucking shows. Like they're popping up so much.
Yeah.
Like I'll forget and I'll see it on Facebook. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. That's crazy that Chris is your cousin, dude.
Yeah. Like, and I just seen him last at that 4th Friday I was telling you about. That was the last time I seen him.
I wanted to get to his thing last weekend.
Last
Saturday, the toy drive.
Yeah.
But we were doing all that construction, and I had spent 10 hours hanging.
Yeah, I missed it this year too. I think I did it like some years back when I was in the club. I dropped off some toys
Chris
and shit.
And Tiffany.
Yeah,
they rule.
Yeah, they're cool people, dude. He has like the mini bikes. They all do.
Yeah.
I think they had like a little crew going on for a while.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was a big deal. But that show went down from being like Saturday, Sunday to being Friday, Saturday. So
how is it there? I've never been there.
It's cool.
Yeah. Where's it at?
It's at Platte County Fairgrounds now.
Oh, okay.
If you've never gone, it's probably really cool. If you're like me and you've gone for 20 years, it's missing something.
Yeah.
A spirit, an edge, something is off. And it might just me being old and bitter and not wanting to see something change for the worse because all things change. But it's sometimes it's hard for me to go. I've still been going and I make a video and I try to promote it the best I can. But we've also been trying to get into a mode of like, we can't really keep spending time promoting people that don't reciprocate that for us in the scene and the culture. Yeah. I'm a big culture guy, dude, and I don't believe in exploiting my culture. And I've been in the car culture my entire life. I don't want to exploit it. I'm not making out to make money. A couple of years ago, that same ex-girlfriend that was on again, off again, and another person They approached me. This would have been, well, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, basically. They said, hey, would you want to help us put on a van and chopper show? And I said, yeah, I'll help you. Well, that slowly but surely, one of them dropped out, and then the other one was like kind of halfway into doing it. And at the end of it all, we put on just a car show, a show that included everyone. And it had a good turnout. I lost about $1,000
Where was it
of my
at?
own money. It was at the 403 Club.
Oh, okay. I think I've been there.
You've been there. It's in KCK. It's Pinball Bar.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been there. Yeah.
Artie was the last guest on my show.
Okay.
That owns it. So we did this show. It went great.
Yeah, I think I follow the guy that owns it. Does he go by like Luigi or
Loogie owns Hillsiders.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
Hillsiders. Okay.
Logan is one of my best friends.
Oh, okay.
He's a
I
good
follow
friend
him.
too.
He seems like a cool dude.
Logan rules.
Yeah.
But we did the show. I lost money. I had $1,000 invested. They had about $150 invested, and we made about $400 at the day of the show.
Oh, shit.
They just had to have their money back, so I said, "Here you go. Tom's your uncle." And that show was called the Black Moon Revival. And then fast forward to over the winter, Nico and I started cooking up some ideas, and I said, "Hey, I want to do something in the fall." And we started thinking about doing T-shirts and stuff. And we decided, I said, let's do this thing, and we'll call it the Black Magic Boogie Down in the channel. It'll be like a thing for my YouTube. He's like, cool. So he did it, and I said, we're going to make it for free. It's going to cost no money. We're not going to block the roads off and shit. We're not going to invest that time and
just
effort.
Find a parking lot or
it's
something.
at the 403 Club.
Nice.
My spot is already there. I have a spot. It's the 403 Club.
Oh,
it's the perfect place for me to hold events. So we did it. It crushed. It had a decent turnout. We actually made money we did a design of my van, and it was really cool in 70s. Nico did it up, and we did transfer shirts and hats, and we did all kinds of shit. And so we did those, and we were just doing them on like whatever shirts we could get a hold of. You know what I mean? And so we did those shirts. We then... through that, we started talking, and it was like, okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And it was like, okay, well, if we were going to screen print, what would we need? And so that's how we got into the screen printing thing. Nico was already working at a shop, but we got that deal, so we did that. So we did the first show, and I said, okay, we're gonna do the other show. And at this point, now we're like starting to operate as a business, right? And it's like, okay, I was like, I want to hold a rock and roll show. And he's like, cool, let's call it Zoink Fest. I'm like, cool. Because we had already picked the name of the company, right? So I put together this bill of like 4 or 5 local bands. I get some people to set old cars up out front, charge $10 at the door for that, because it's at a venue down in the bottoms, and it fucking crushed, dude. Awesome. Everybody had a blast. The bands all kicked ass. And again, we made merch, sold the merch, made some money. $0 invested.
That's crazy.
So we're going, okay, now we see what we can do. Yeah. I don't want to charge you. I'm charging you at the door at the rock and roll shows to pay the band.
Yeah.
I don't want to charge you at a car show to display your vehicle. My shows aren't our shows. I shouldn't say my shows. Nico and I's shows aren't about the spectator. They're about participation.
Right.
So that's why it doesn't matter if you have a Honda Civic, a 55 Chevy, a rat rod, a hot rod, a custom, a lowrider, a lifted truck, a fucking scooter, a bicycle, a motorcycle, whatever you have. If you think it's cool, we would love for you to come out and show it off. That's and then meet other like-minded people that also drive cool shit.
Yeah.
So we were doing we decided to call the show on Labor Day. So we do Memorial Day for the first one, Labor Day for the second one. We're trying to like cap off the ends of the car show season.
Yeah.
And so the big boogie is what we have on Labor Day weekend. It's the Sunday of Labor Day at the 403. We made this one trophy, giant ass. I made this trophy. It's like this tall. It's like 4 feet tall. and
Just
it's
like
called.
a bunch of miscellaneous parts. And you
No,
put together,
it all matches, but it like looks cool. It's made from some old. There's like old cars on it. It's really cool. It looks like
that's
it looks
dope.
like the Grand Champion trophy, right? But we call it the Cool Cat of the Year because Nico has this Rat Fink like character called the Cool Cat, and we decided what we were going to do was give that out to one person every year. It's a traveling trophy, so
that's
every
cool.
year you bring it back.
Yeah, you bring it back.
And then we're picking someone who like goes above and beyond in the scene, that's always supporting, like like a true patron of the car culture. And like this year we gave it to this guy Jason Brunskill, and Jason is like the tightest. He supports everyone in what they're doing. He'll drive here from Fort Scott to hand you a washer if it's something that you got to have, and then turn around and drive back home.
That's dope.
In a 1968 Ford Econoline van. You know what I mean? That doesn't have any brakes on it. Like he's driving 4 hours down the highway. You know what I mean? But so he got that. And the shows, they've been going really good. But again, they don't cost money. It doesn't cost to spectate. It doesn't cost to show up. We did a 50-50 drawing. And then the 50-50 goes to the DJ. Our half of the 50-50, we gave it to the DJ. We have this guy, Steve Viles, DJ Biscuit. And Steve is a OG punk rock guy I know, and he showed up. He set up a sound system in the parking lot and just crushed the vibe, dude.
That's
just
cool.
killed it. All vinyl, all day, just nailed it. It was like such a good DJ. He's sick. And then everyone that showed up was chill, dude. Nobody has a bad time. We don't make the expectation isn't there like it is at these other things where it's like, what do you expect for free? Right? I can tell you what you expect. You expect good people and a good time. Right. And that's what we give you.
Yeah.
And we block the road off so that only cool shit can park down there. They got the pinball inside. Our buddies at Fortunati's, which is Lucky Boy's other restaurant, the pizzeria, Justin comes up. They sell pizzas. That's our only food vendor. I couldn't get an ice cream truck this year. The first year I had an ice cream truck there. I'm going to work on that again for this year.
So you feel like basically these other organizations or these other events are kind of making it all about the money.
Yeah, I think if you're putting on car shows and you don't even have you're not actively participating in the car culture, I don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Like I'm not paying $25 for you to draw on spectators to charge them $10 to look at my car. I'm not into any of that.
Yeah.
I don't need a trophy that says I'm better than anyone.
That's why I don't go down to like World of Wheels. Nothing against them, but I'm not paying I think it's like $20-something a ticket or something.
I go to World of Wheels, but we get it free every year because we do the charity art auction stuff.
Oh,
like
really?
we always participate in that. Like we'll bring a piece or whatever.
Yeah, nothing against them. It gets expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive.
So
it's expensive.
It's like I'd rather go down to the free event, man, and help out and just give some money towards, whatever business is there, whatever food truck or,
I'd like to find a charity. I have a charity
or donations. Yeah.
Right. I have a charity I work with. Just to get someone involved to show up and like, even if it's just to promote them and like let people know about it or whatever. I do work with a charity up in Iowa called Helping Hannah's Heart. That's my buddy John Wells. He puts on a show called Vintage Torque Fest. And John and I have been friends forever. And I met him when I was in the car club. We became fast friends and I've helped him out all the time. But their show was basically they had a daughter, serious heart disease. Didn't think she was going to live very long. She's now going to college.
Oh, shit.
And because they were able to start this foundation that helped pay the medical bills, it helped them out. Now they help other families out as well. They get them to the correct hospital and they help cover the hotels for these families so they can stay there while the kids are in post-surgery and stuff like that. But Helping Hannah's Heart that's a big thing. It's something that I've like, I'm not big on like, I don't hand a bum $5 and make a video about it to tell the world. Yeah. I don't tell enough people about the charity. But again, there's a guy that like wrote a letter to a judge to like tell the guy like, hey, this guy isn't what you think he is. You know what I mean? Because I had done no matter how bad I had gotten, like I always found a way to get to his show and help out. Right. Every time I could.
Right.
And I love that guy. He's, again, one of my closest friends, and he lives in Davenport, Iowa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But But yeah, same thing. Like his show is for a purpose and he doesn't gouge at the door. But when you go to John's show, you're getting crazy races on the dirt track, dirt drags, mini bike races. There's all these other shit. Like for the money, he is giving you, it's like a circus compared to most of these car shows.
Yeah, what happened to games, man? Like, there's no games at some of these car shows.
Dude, we did this bike show down in the Bottoms a few years ago, me and like 5 people, called Bottoms Up.
Oh, really?
And we did that, and we had all the clubs. Each one of the clubs was in charge of a different game.
Oh,
it was like a full-blown invited builder chopper show, like cool bike show inside this building. Then outside was a any make, any model ride-in bike show.
Really?
And it was sick, dude. It was a great time. And I've thought about doing it again. But again, I'm at a point where like I'm not so involved in the motorcycle culture like I was.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to be in that space doing that. And I would rather stick with the car culture stuff and the people I know. I'd love for those, like, some of my good friends are in the booze fighters, like Hawkeye.
Yeah, they're cool.
Hawkeye is a really good,
I've been to their bar a couple times.
Yeah. Rules.
A lot of the clubs here are really cool.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Deadeye from Brian.
Cool. Yeah.
I love Brian. Yeah. Brian rules. I have like this.
I think they're Brothers Word.
Brothers Word. Yeah. I have this bitchin'. I gave Deadeye this piece of art that I had airbrushed like this. I used to do these like skulls and stuff, and I gave him this painting, him and his wife, and he showed up not long after that. And he had this black, he knew I was into black velvets, and he had this black velvet painting that he gave me. And it's like kind of fucking tore up, but it says Harley Davidson on it. It's DAVYDSON instead of I, but it's like an old black, it's got like snakes on it and shit, and the Harley logo, but it's like from the 70s. And some old 1%er guy gave it to him.
Really?
And so he's like, here, you take this.
Dude, he's a cool dude, man. I remember being at their clubhouse a couple times, having beers with them, man. They were always really welcoming. Dude. Yeah. Even at his shop over there in Clay Como, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I walked in there one time with my wife and kids, bro, and they're like just so welcoming, dude.
Yeah.
Like didn't make like you would think on the outside, like, oh man, this place looks kind of
sketch,
right? Yeah. And then you go in there, dude, and they're all really nice, man.
No, so, Deadeye rules. I love Deadeye.
And we don't even really like know each other on that close of a connection. Like I've just hung out with them a couple of times when I was in the club, and they were always really cool dudes.
So actually, when I finished building Jerry's bike, that Sportster, I got it done, and I got it done the same week. It was like my goal to get it done, to take it there, but I took it to the El Forasteros show down at their clubhouse, and Deadeye was there. And of course, like Deadeye's like watching all the YouTube videos about it. So he's like talking, like Ricky standing like from here to like your camera, and Deadeye's over there be like, well, who did that weld? And I was just like, oh my God, Brian, you're gonna get my ass beat at a motorcycle show. But yeah, he rules. And then like Bear, that has Bear's Highway Classics. Bear is another great guy. There's a lot of great people in the motorcycle community.
Yeah.
And
like,
the club guys.
Well, like we said earlier, there's good guys, there's bad guys, but that's in all society. You know what I mean? Like a lot of them are good. I know they look intimidating, when you kind of walk past them, but a lot of them are good dudes, man.
Oh yeah. They are. They're
like
very.
One of them that's really good, dude. I actually have a trophy in my garage. I'll show it to you before we leave. But that's kind of what I was referring to, the games, like I miss like going to an event and playing like motorcycle games, like putting the joust through the hoops and shit, or knocking off tennis balls and, picking up. They had this thing where they gave me a net and I had to ride and pick up like stuffed animals and shit.
The plank race.
Yeah, dude.
The hot dog thing.
Yeah, dude. And I think they were called
slow drags.
No, Soldiers for Jesus or something.
Soldiers
like that.
for Jesus. I went to their
their president
rally.
was a cool ass dude, man.
Yeah,
he was a cool dude. I fucking forget his name, dude.
They did that rally out at Lakeside this year.
Oh, okay.
And Jerry came to town to get his bike, and we took it there to enter it. And we actually won. They had this chopper show that Vanilla Cycles put on at that rally. And we won like best Sportster and top 3 like best chopper. So we got a couple trophies for the bike. So it was really cool. Those guys actually let me pull my old Dodge into the rally and set up. So I made a really cool video of the event.
Yeah.
So it was cool. It was a cool deal.
Seeing a lot of the history, dude, like being in their clubhouse, the Forestero clubhouse, like, and then looking at documentaries and stuff like that. How is there no like big chopper events here, dude? Like kind of like Born Free type shit.
Yeah. Yeah, man, because we did the one, and then it was like a whole thing, and
Yeah.
it takes a lot, dude. It takes that's what
Just
it is.
years of
To
building
like
it up.
do a big thing like that, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
And like also you have to have a scene, like the chopper scene here is kind of full of a lot of shitty dirtbag people, dude.
Right.
That like not the club guys.
Mm.
Not the club guys. It's the non-club guys. It's all the hipster kids, man.
Oh,
They're
really?
just shitty cutthroat people, dude. Like Ricky. And it's like because of that, like why do I want to put on an event for like for these people that they don't give a fuck. They don't
Right.
care about they're not about no real shit. They don't care about people or anything. And it's like it's just not. Again, that would be somebody coming in from out of town to just make money. That's all it would be.
Yeah, because that was my big thing, dude. Like my dream was to go over like I think it's like Silverado City or whatever in California where they have the Born Free show out there. Like, man, dude, seeing those videos on YouTube, dude, it's just amazing some of the works of art that they build, man.
Yeah, you know they have the one in Texas now.
Yeah, I seen that one too.
I would recommend you go to the one in Texas over the one in California.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Go to Texas because then you can go to Austin if you've never been to Austin. Austin
Right.
rules. You can go
I follow those lane split guys, and when I
Yeah.
see them, or lane split, and then unaffiliated guys. You ever seen them on YouTube?
I know the lane splitter
Yeah,
guy,
the Asian guys.
Yeah,
Yeah. They have a lot of videos of them.
but most of those guys all go to the one in Texas now too.
No, they're all in Cali.
I know, but they ride to the one in Texas.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, people go from all over the country to go to
okay.
that. Yeah, more people I think are going to end up going to the one in Texas than the one in California because
Really?
it's centrally located. So
Right,
people from the East Coast
yeah.
to the West Coast. they'll all meet
Yeah.
in
I
the
mean, it's
middle.
not that far. I mean, we rode down. Me and a couple of buddies of mine rode down to Amarillo. You know, it's not too bad of a ride. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and then like what else? Like James, that used to be he was either the president or the vice president of the Banditos. But most him and Tony, they are all out of the club now. But they were always good dudes. Like they were super solid all the time. Like the motorcycle people rule, dude.
Yeah.
Like they really do. And it's mostly non-club people that suck in that scene. Like there's always an outlier of a club guy, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's always, like I said, there's always some, man. But you know, overall, man, everyone's pretty cool. You know, but,
Cooley, I like Cooley. You know Cooley.
I don't know, man.
He's in the Galloping Goose.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
They rule.
I'd have to
I
see
still
their
love
faces.
them. Our friend Josh, he was in the Forced Arrows. He passed away like a year ago now. But yeah, Eric Burkett, Eric rules. He's in the Forced Arrows. They're all cool. They never like they came to me originally, and there's some guys that were in the club that are in there now, and one of them came to me, Doc, and Doc and I had become pretty tight, and I had connections with the Riot Room and other places, so we were all. I'd get us on the guest list to go. You know, it was like a thing where like at that time people were like, oh, the guys I knew were like, yeah, their dad was a biker. It's like, yeah, I'll get you guys all in on the list, cool, and but we'd go to shows like we went and saw Jelly Roll. They all wanted to go see Jelly Roll and Struggle Jennings like at the Riot Room. This is well before that dude blew up huge. You know what I mean? They were still doing rap music, but Doc had come to me and was like, hey, so what's your deal? Like, what do you want to do? And I just let him know ahead of like, oh, I love hanging out with you guys, but in no way, shape, or form could I would never want to be in a motorcycle club.
It's a commitment, dude.
And they were like, oh, and he asked me why, and I told him about the car club shit, and I was like, I don't do well. It's not you, it's me. I don't do well in that setting. I never played sports really. I'm not a team.
That was my issue,
team guy.
It's not. It's like just when you get a lot of guys together. Because I'm not going to say, you know, when I was in it, it was perfect, and maybe it was me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just hard for me to deal with, I guess, so many different like guys' way of thinking and going about stuff, and it's just like, man, you know, I have problems with a fucking authority already. You know, I have problems with fucking government, dude, and I'm over here trying to be in a club where there's a lot of rules. You know what I mean? So,
dude, that's the problem.
You know,
there's a lot of rules,
and that's when I was just like, well, maybe it's me. Maybe I should just step away. You know,
if you're, it's not great for individualism.
Yeah.
it's a hard thing to be an individual in that.
Yeah. And I'm a hard-headed dude. I get it, man. You know what I mean? That's
Me
why
too.
that's why it was best that I kind of stepped away. And, you know, I'm still friends with all the guys to this day. I just seen them not too long ago at, you know, they had one of the Day of the Dead parades down there at Matty Rhodes. So, like, we still say what's up. You know, everything's cool. You know, it never ended bad or anything like that. But just sometimes you realize, man, you know, maybe this thing ain't for me, man. Maybe I need to pull back and find my own way, you know?
Yeah, and, like, after the fact, like, after I got sober, they asked me, the guy, my buddy Dave was the president of the car club then. And he was like, come on, dude, I'll give you this. I got this old Ford. I'll give you this 31 pickup. We'll get it running.
Mm-hmm.
We'll build you a little hot rod. You can get back in the club. And I said, dude, I'm going to stop you there. I don't want to be a part of the club anymore. He's like, oh. And I was like, I have no desire to like fill my life with that drama. I have enough. My life has enough drama in it for myself.
Yeah.
Let alone like, I don't want to, but because I had already, what I was doing also probably affected them, right? And their reputation. It's like, I don't want that anymore. I don't want to be, I don't need the responsibility of worrying about what I do, how it affects all of you, because it shouldn't.
You don't miss it a little bit though? I miss the camaraderie. I miss
no, because I'm still friends with all the dudes that were my homies. I'm still building cars with Eric and hanging out with Dave and Todd and like all these people, like all the ones that were super tight with me, all of them have quit now too. Yeah. That's what I mean. The club isn't the same. There's like one original member left. And it's like, it's a totally different vibe. It's not as punk rock as it used to be. And all the other guys, like I never quit building cars with Eric. Like I never quit hanging around. I just wasn't a member anymore. Right. And I was totally cool with, because then I didn't have to play by their rules either. I could do whatever the fuck I wanted. Like,
yeah. And like me and a couple of buddies, you know, that I still ride with to this day, you know, they're, you know, some of my best friends, and, you know, we still ride together, but it's a little different now that you're not in the club, you know what I mean? And I was only in it when it was a riding club, you know, now it's a full on MC. So it's like,
so it's totally different.
Yeah. So I'm like looking at it, I'm like, damn, man, it would have been nice. You know, I was wearing soft colors for fucking years and now they got cuts and shit, you know, it's just, it's cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then, you know, being in a pack, just, you know, riding down the highway with all your boys and shit like that, you know, just, you know, it was a good time, man. So those are things
on the flip side of that, you wouldn't be doing this.
Right.
Because you would have started doing this and you would have said something and somebody would have got offended and would turn into a deal. And you would have either been like, okay, well, I'm either going to quit the club or I'm going to quit doing the podcast. Yeah. And that's it. That's how that goes. And we just ain't those guys, bro. Yeah.
Like, and it was a lot, you know, it takes up your life.
It's
man.
a lot. That's your life, dude. That is your entire, that's your, that
I felt like I was gone
identity.
a lot with them and we weren't even doing as much. I can't imagine, you know, full on MC.
Oh, dude,
you know,
Dylan would be gone all the time. Like I'm not going to speak on like the things that happened and why he left the club, but like things got crazy and I was living with him when they got crazy and I had to stop living with him because they were that crazy. And it's like, I don't need this. I'm still on paper. Like,
you start to be like, hey man, you know, I don't know if I want to be involved in some of this shit, man. I got a whole life ahead of me.
Yeah. I saw a lot of people go in without criminal records and leave.
Well, but that's better though that you realize it than being the guy that stays in it and then you're ratting on your fucking friends when you get caught up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like I'd rather back out than fucking go down that route.
You know what? The thing that blows my mind is like in the modern day, it's like I feel like it would be so easy to like, okay, just turn this into a thing and like start a business together and like make that part of it too. Like
I think some of them are trying.
Some of the
clubs
I think that's the only way you could do it
on the West Coast. I don't know about here. I know they're really old school here, you know, from what I've seen. And from the stuff I've seen on, you know, YouTube wise from some of the clubs like on the coast, like I think they're kind of doing that more of a route, like business type stuff. I might be totally wrong. I don't know. But I listened to this guy, like I think his name's like OG Mooch. And he was like a Mongol, and he talks a lot, like not negatively or anything, but just kind of about club life and stuff like that, and what he didn't like, and the reasons why he left, and all that stuff. Same old thing, drama, politics, all that shit.
Yeah, that's the thing with anything.
But that's been the cool thing about YouTube, man. You know, it's kind of shed light on the outlaw world. You know, it's, a lot of guys are coming out talking about
that
stuff.
And gang culture, dude. What it is like all these people, like you see all these guys that like are crippin' or whatever, and then they're like on the internet, and then they're like trying to mad dog people. It's like, dude, this isn't. That's not this. Like, you're losing your credibility is now gone because you're on the internet talking about it. Like,
Right.
It's gone. Like, I'm not a tough guy. Like, I'm not a criminal. I'm not any of those things I used to be.
Yeah.
I'm just a dude that like does a little show for fun and like builds cars and like that's my identity. You know what I mean?
It's like that Wes Watson guy. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
Dude, I was listening to T-Fat-K the other day, and they were talking about how that dude's a phony, I guess. I can't remember who was on there talking about it, but he's
I don't know, but he's like all these guys that like they're obsessed with prison culture. There's this other dude that's like always screaming into his microphone about killing pedophiles. I'm like,
oh, really?
dude, yeah. He's like, I don't know. He's some YouTube guy, but it's like always pops up. Finally, I've got him out of the algorithm. I don't follow him or anything.
I mean, I'm down with your cause,
but it's like,
buddy,
it's like, yeah, but it's like, dude, you talk so much about it that it makes me wonder, like,
oh, like,
you know
if
what
he's
I mean?
trying
Why,
to, yeah,
like, why are you always talking about this one thing? You know what I mean?
The only thing I could think of is that it's not talked about enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, think about it, dude. Think about, I mean, we see all these documentaries and shit like that of all these chomos out there. It's like, you know, and millions of people getting away with it, dude. Like that one I'd watched, that fucking, man, what was that movie everybody was tripping about? They're all upset about it, calling it big conspiracy and shit. Do you remember that? The Operation Underground Railroad or some shit?
The Daily Wire made that movie about the guy that like went and got the girls back from sex trafficking. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, this, like, people won't like this. I'll be honest with you. The reasons that they didn't like that movie were sort of null and void to me because I watched it. It was just a bad movie. Like, it wasn't well made.
Yeah, the acting wise and all that shit.
Yeah, it was like they spent all their money on like Jim Caviezel, who like hasn't been a relevant actor in years. But like, I was just like, no, this movie just fucking sucks because it's not well made. Like, the story's cool. Like, it's a cool story, and like
it was I think it was a little over like drama. Like,
of course it was
Hollywood.
Of course it was. It was done by a bunch of like people on the far right, like from a far right news publication. Like, of course they over dramatize the action and things. Like, that's what movies do. But like, it just wasn't that good.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay.
But I liked how at least show the statistics at the end of like how many people get away with that, or like how many people are consuming that content. Like, they had like a map of the entire world.
Oh, dude, people don't even realize, like, if you're watching internet porn, you've undoubtedly seen a video with an underage girl in it. Probably.
That's why Pornhub, they went to that blue check mark shit, dude.
But even the videos that are posted on there, like,
oh, they're getting around it?
Oh, sure there is.
Yeah,
sure there's sometimes where there's a girl that's probably only 17 or 16. You know there is.
Yeah, using a fake ID or some shit.
Right.
Fuck, man. Yeah, that sucks, dude. Yeah, it's no different than the underage chicks getting in a bar. You know, how many of them got taken home at night?
I used to be the king of fake ID catching, dude. We'd have fucking stacks of them.
Dude, I used to have a good one, man. I got it from that website back in the day, like around like 2010. There was like this website you could go on. You send them your pictures, and then you would get like a package in the mail from China.
Yeah.
And it was like a gift. And you had to open up, like, crack open whatever the fuck it was. It'd be like, I don't even know what it was. It's been so long, dude.
Yeah.
But I had to break it open, and there was like IDs in it.
Yeah.
It's because they had to get through customs.
Right.
Yeah, that shit was wild, dude. I think I paid like $100 or some shit for my ID. They gave me 2.
I never needed one because when we were kids, there was this biker bar, Kobe's, you know Kobe's, down in Bonner. And my mom worked at the tire store up the street, and my buddy Jake worked there. And the year we graduated high school, like a couple months into summer, we would like, Jake and his brother had a house down the street. And I was like, yo, we should try to go to the bar. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, let's go. And because Jake's brother was old enough, and then there was a couple of other older people with us, right? They were like 22.
Right.
So we went,
in.
And they were like, this isn't going to work. I'm like, dude, what kind of a fucking moron would go to the restaurant his mom eats at several times a week for lunch, who goes in here? I go in here and have lunch with my mom sometimes. Like, why would I come here and try to drink underage?
Yeah.
They were like, okay, we like your logic. And we went, and they totally would give us beer.
Really?
They would serve us beer, right? But no liquor. And then eventually we realized, like, oh no, they totally knew that we weren't old enough, but it was just like it was still kind of a small town.
Right.
So it was just like, yeah, as long as you guys don't do dumbass shit,
Yeah.
like
do it here rather than somewhere else.
right.
Yeah,
And we weren't like getting like blackout drunk there. You know what I mean? And we walked because it was 2 blocks away from Jake's house. So, but yeah, so I never needed a fake ID.
Really?
And then I was always like,
I had one from Ohio, but dude, it was legit, man. It had like the holographic shit on it, like the black light stuff. Had a scanner on the back. Used it everywhere. All the bars, Power and Light. Went everywhere. Westport. You know where they caught me at? At Bubbles, this liquor store. Asian dude caught me.
Yeah.
He fucking knew right away.
His cousin told you that shit.
He was
dog.
like, dude, I fucking know what
I
this
know
is,
these.
bro.
My fucking cousin Chin sells these motherfuckers.
Dude, he gave it back to me. He was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, touche. I get it. Yeah, I get it, man.
Are you from up over here? Is this where you're from? Yeah.
Well, I mean, a little bit. Like my parents moved up here, up north, like, I don't know, elementary school, mid-elementary, but no, I mean, I was born like down on the west side. That's where we lived at originally.
Okay.
Yeah, right next to downtown.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where my buddy Billy lives. I got friends
really?
on the west side now.
Yeah, man, it's fucking dwindling away, man. Fucking $1 million homes and shit.
Yeah, no Mexicans left over there.
No,
they really got rid of them. That's like what Strawberry Hill used to be.
Know,
They're not rebuilding
wild,
the houses yet, but
I mean, it's just a natural progression of a city, I guess, man. It sucks though, take away a lot of the culture.
yeah, it's taking away the culture. That's what it is, sucking the culture out.
But then again, it's like not everybody down there is like not taking care of their home, but there's a lot of fucking people just letting their shit go. Dude.
Oh,
so it's like, what do you do? You know what I mean? Like, and then, I'm all for letting people do whatever the fuck they want. So how can I tell some, white dude that's a millionaire, hey, you can't build your house there? You know what I mean? So it's like, happen. You can do whatever the fuck you want, man. You got money. So what am I supposed to say? It just sucks because, I remember being, younger down there and, I think my grandma was the last one to move from down there. I still have a cousin that lives down there, but like it's just different, man. From when I was a kid, growing up and being down there to now, it's just completely different, man. It's wild, but what can you do? Strawberry Hill, I don't know too much about, but I've heard the same thing.
It's similar. They haven't rebuilt the homes, but it's become pretty gentrified.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to live across the street from Sammy's on 6th Street for like $475 a month. Same apartment's $1,400 now. That was in the last decade. You know what I mean?
Dude, prices
like,
of fucking crazy. Rent is
I've been trying to buy a house. It's just so fucking. It's so hard, dude.
It's bad.
It's like really hard right now as a single person, but then also with a kid, and it's like, fuck, man, like. I want nothing more than just own a home so I can do whatever I want. Don't have to wait for repairs. I kind of got a slumlord now. It's been a whole thing.
Oh, really?
But like, I turned their ass into the state, so I don't really care.
I got lucky on this one, man.
Yeah.
I picked this one up in 2016, but it's crazy to think about what I bought this house for and what I bought my first house for in 2013. Like, I mean, dude, I wasn't making shit. I just started machining when I bought my first house. I was probably making like $11 an hour, $12 an hour.
Yeah.
And I bought a fucking house that was like built in the 90s, like 1,700 square foot, like big ass home in Liberty. And I only paid $100,000 back in 2013.
Yeah.
And now that home's like probably $400,000.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And you probably got this one for a good deal too.
Yeah, well, I moved to this one like in 2016. I paid like $100K, the same fucking price though.
Yeah,
this is only 1,000 square feet.
Yeah,
like it's insane how much that moved in 3 years.
Right,
and then go from 2016 to 2024. This house is probably worth over $200,000.
Yeah, there was a house that went up for sale, and I want it so bad, but. It was $250,000,
bro. Like,
dude.
Fuck, dude, we're gonna be like Cali, bro. These type of houses for $500,000.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna. I think things are gonna get better. I'm hoping. I don't know.
Fuck, we'll see, dude. I don't know, man. It's fucking. It's
you're
up
locked
in. The air,
in. You
man.
probably damn near got the mortgage paid off now. You fucking.
No, I mean, I think I got like another. I don't know, low 20s right now. I mean, I've been here for a while, 8 years.
Yeah.
So. But no, man.
Damn, that's crazy.
Dude, man, talk to me a little about the podcast, though, real quick before we wrap it up.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
We didn't even bring that up, man.
Yeah.
So hold on. I want to know something. I know you said the Black Magick is your YouTube channel, right?
Right, Black Magick TV.
Why'd you put a K on the end?
Oh, because that's
Is this like the White Magic, dark magic type shit.
Yeah. So that's like actual. That's how magic's actually spelled, like real magic.
Yeah, I did an
so
episode
like when
on
you're
that
on
a long time
drugs,
ago.
like
Yeah.
you tend to get into magic. I
Right.
don't know why that is, but like I think it's just a thing. But like back in the day, I needed a name to go under. So it was I just picked that. It was like what am I gonna call the shop? And it was like, oh, Black Magic Psychedelic Paint is what I had a paint shop called that.
Right.
And so that's where it started. And then I always just kept the name as like it was like an inconspicuous way that I could do art and then not have to have my name on there. Because I'm always like, I'm weird about it, dude. I'm weird about compliments. Like I appreciate, like you do compliment me a lot and I appreciate it, but I have a hard time accepting compliments from people.
I get it. I feel the same way.
Yeah, so it's like a weird thing for me, but it was like start out as that, and then it was like, okay, well, what am I gonna call the channel? And I was like, I'll just call it Black Magic TV, because if I'm gonna do car shit, I'll just keep the same name vibe going.
Well, I think it's cool too, because you're able to do the short clips you do, like the 20-minute like car videos you do, and you can do your podcast, and you have some interviews on there, like actual like kind of like car style interviews off of YouTube, you know, like where you're behind the camera. And,
that's like the original way I started, and then I've evolved, and then like I really like going out like to World of Wheels and doing the man on the street thing. And
I've seen that, dude, when you're interviewing
more
people.
Of that. Like I'd like to do some more of that. But it was just like it's like this thing where it's like I never set out to do I don't even ever call it a podcast still. Like I never set out as that in the goal. It was doing all the other stuff that was the goal, you know? And then it kind of just became that deal of being like, hey, I want to learn how to listen better. And I started realizing like I learned so much about people that I had known for 20 years that I never knew about them.
Yeah.
And I go, man, either I haven't been paying attention or I've never asked these questions.
Well, how many times do you conversate with somebody like this? You know what I mean? Like when you're able to sit down and focus and be able to talk to somebody for over an hour, you know, without disruption.
And so through that, I've grown it, and I keep growing the channel, and I go through lulls. Like I'm in a lull right now while we're getting the business going and doing all that. And
I go through the same shit.
The studio's full of shit right now because I don't have anywhere else to put it. But I'm going to keep going, and then I'm going to keep I have my van that I'm going to work on. I'm going to start. That's the next project I want to film is the van build.
Oh, yeah, because I do like the ones you do, too, like when you're painting shit and like putting bikes together and stuff like that. That's just dope.
Yeah, and that's more of like a thing of like, that's just what I love. Like, I really do love doing that stuff. And I love doing it with my friends, and I just want to promote the culture to where more people will get involved again.
Yeah.
But... you know, I keep going, and then like, you know, it's like this thing where it's like, I don't set out to like, would it be cool if I could like get monetized at some point? For sure. But like, that's not like, I'm not like, that's not my goal. I'm just doing this because I like to do it. And I've incorporated it into other things of like learning how to edit. And I've learned a lot. I've learned how to do videography because I've always been interested in that. But it's now I make commercials for all the events that we hold. And we're going to film like a really cool commercial for the print shop soon once we get the shop space all squared away. And so it's fun for that. And
it's helping you in the other projects you have. That's cool.
It's just another tool. It was like sort of the culmination of like, how do I combine all the things that I love? And that's the actual art.
Right.
Is making the videos. That's where all of the whole stew comes together in the car and the art and the this and the me being me and everything. It culminates in these videos. You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
And 'cause it's always been a weird thing where like, I'm not like a master of like one thing, but I do so much that it's like, how do I bring it all into the fold together? And that's why Nico and I are like, we're like the best duo. Because like where I'm so outgoing and like talking to you, like he's not that way. Yeah. Like he will conversate, but we're different in that way. But like where he can like draw all this shit, like I can have these ideas in my head and I can explain them to him, and then he can bring them to life.
I've got a buddy like that too.
Yeah, so we work very well together, and we're like this strong team because of that, because we collaborate on everything. Like from the design to whatever, we're it's constantly back and forth, no egos involved.
That's cool.
Like we both work hard to not be egotistical at all. Like that's my biggest thing is like don't have an ego.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. I think that's the bet for everybody, dude.
Yeah.
Strip that ego, dude. That's what gets in the way of fucking everything, man.
Dude, I ain't shit. Like anybody that's watching this, if you've made it this far, like no one is special, but everyone is special.
Right.
It's whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
If you want to do something, you just do it. And I wanted to do this, so I just like you did, right? Yeah. I just figured it out, and
it's evolved.
Right. And like coming here, like your setup is totally different than my setup.
Yeah.
And it's like neither one is better or worse. They're both great.
We all got our own
vibes.
Like,
and I had no idea this was like, I thought this, like the way you do this, it makes it look gigantic, dude. It's fucking awesome. I love it. I love that about this sort of shit.
I appreciate it.
That it's like not like everything is like, it's totally like, is it real or is it all a facade? You know what I mean? And I love that. I love
you don't
that
know how many
it.
people go, I didn't know that was a fake brick wall.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
But that's awesome about it.
Yeah.
That's what rules. And even that wall, you know what I mean? It's like, oh shit, this is perfect. Like this is better. I fucking love it more now, knowing that. Like I thought you just had a cool brick wall in your house and like you had built around that, and it's like, no, this is even better now, dude.
I was like, I don't know how people think that, because I look at yours and that looks more like a real brick wall than mine.
Okay, mine is like a cinder block wall, like the foundation.
Okay.
We painted it.
Okay.
And then we went back in with a hand brush and traced all the bricks in black. And then we added cracks and highlight.
And the mortar and all that.
When you see it in real life, you'll go like, what the fuck? It looks like some cheesy set of a castle. That was the idea. I wanted to make it look like a castle.
Well, on camera, it looks fucking great.
Yeah. It never knew that's what, like, it was adding the white highlight. Nico always tells me to add the white to it, dude. It's the white makes it pop.
I think you are the best at capturing like the single camera, bro, because that shit's hard, dude.
Yeah.
The one shot view, like you would think like you'd get tired of just staring at that one angle the entire time,
right?
Dude. But I don't know what you do. You do something. It's got to be like your entire like setup, dude. I mean, you nailed it, man.
Thank
really
you.
did,
I appreciate
like,
it.
It's pretty cool, because usually the thought is you want rotating like you want cameras to rotate throughout the entire podcast,
right?
Because people get kind of just bored of staring at one,
No, for sure. And I've told you, like, I'm jealous of your shit because I
know, but I'm thinking about switching to yours, bro.
Yeah,
I'm like, fuck, dude, like one camera, bro, and it looks that good. Fuck, I'm gonna do that shit.
It's I would love to have 3 cameras, but my obsession, like,
that's what makes the editing longer.
I was explaining to you the other day, it was like the obsession I have now is that I have that cinema camera. And like, I would have to get 2 more of those because I want all, like, that's the crucial thing. Like, you have 3 of the same camera because then all the video is, if you set it the same, it looks the same.
Right.
And I would have to have that. And that would require me to have 3 more. I would have to have cinema lenses by the same company that were the right focal point to like set up down there. And my space is pretty tight. Like when like I said, I'm going to have you on the show soon. It's tight too. Like it's sort of, it's also a facade, right? Like, but then I was doing that, that thing for my buddy Aaron Scarborough, where it's just him in front of that orange wall. And that's essentially like, if you just look to the right,
it's right there.
Like it's right there. Yeah. Like that's where you stop seeing that brick wall is orange after that.
Really?
And like, even in the podcast room, it's only purple on the 1-2 parts that you see when I live stream. Like this wall and this wall are purple behind me. Everything else is just white.
And see,
in that
I think
room.
the same thing when I'm watching. I'm like, damn, he's got a fucking dope setup down there, dude. It must be fucking legit studio. When you watch it, and then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, you're kind of like me, where it's just like in
just a basement,
little basement.
It's just a basement.
Up here against 3 walls. So.
And it's like, but like as close as your cameras are, my camera has to be like all the way to the back wall over there.
Oh, really?
Because of the lens.
That's
even with the 16 millimeter lens on it. Like, it's crazy, dude. Like, learning all that. But like, I also have these like ND filters to make it look like film. And I've been posting in 4K now to try to make it look as best as possible.
You like the 4K?
Yeah, it's more of like a flex where I can be like, I put
Yeah, no,
4K.
it looks nice, dude. My thing is where I
do tell a difference.
Right. I went with the 1080p just because I'm like, damn, dude, I don't want them to see like every fucking blemish on my face.
Yeah,
you know, like some of that shit is like crystal fucking clear.
Yeah,
man.
and mine isn't crystal clear because I am shooting like on film basically, but it has made it. It looks better in that aspect.
Yeah, yours
ratio.
looks different. Like you said, yours looks more like cinematic. I feel like when I watch
dude,
it.
also like I went out of my way and like I buy all my equipment at Micro Center most of the time, and I try to get shit like I'll buy like returned stuff.
Oh yeah. Or like refurbished or something.
Well, people buy shit and take it back, you know what I mean? And then they sell it and you can buy the same warranty on it so you're covered.
Yeah.
But like I have a 42-inch OLED monitor, like an actual monitor.
Yeah.
I bought I wanted an OLED monitor because I wanted all of these are OLEDs now. So I wanted to be able to edit on an OLED. So whatever I saw on here is what you were seeing on your phone screen,
right?
Because that's mostly where people are watching this stuff at, you know. And even and then if it's on anywhere else, it's also going to look the best that it can look from there. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I just taking the time and like trying to learn and play around and like just making stuff for fun, like making little video clips and videos for my buddies and for their like events. You know what I mean? Like I was making these cheesy like voiceover car show videos for a couple buddies and shit like that. You know what I mean? But now we're trying to turn that into part of the business. We're like, hey, we'll do all this branding, and also I guess you can pay me to like. I have enough experience now where I feel comfortable charging someone money to make them a video. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty cool, dude. So yeah, I mean, it kind of helps you out all around. Like I said, on all your other projects, and like even me, dude. Like I started this just because I like to meet people. I was like talking people's ears off outside, you know, in my personal life. So I'm like, maybe I should stop doing that and just start a podcast. And like people who come here will not mind if I talk to them for like 2 hours. You know?
No, for sure.
So that's what I started creating. And then like, that's why I created it, and just meeting people, man. You start networking, meeting cool people like yourself and other guys that I've met. You know, you find all these podcasts here locally and shit. And the cool thing is too, like I know we're talking, you know, we have that big group message now, and, you know, we're hoping to hopefully do some type of event here in 2025. I'm trying to get everybody together just because, I mean, Kansas City, I mean, we're kind of like the Wild West right now, you know? Like no one's really, unless you know anybody podcasting wise, but I don't know anybody here.
No, I mean,
except for like
I told you,
sports
up until other than you, and then my buddy Aaron, he was doing this thing called National Prayer Breakfast. These comedians, but other than that, like. I didn't know that all those other people existed that you added to that group. So that, I mean, that was, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, dude. And they're all pretty cool, man. Like I've met a lot of them, having some of them, you know, even, one of the ladies that has the one that I added, her podcast, she's coming on next week. Like, that's what I'm trying to do, man. Just kind of get everyone together, get everyone to know each other. That way we can kind of create that, like, I don't know, like that fucking... Like
just a network of like people cross promotion.
Yeah, kind of like a little universe for you know, like our little like, you know, kind of thing.
Right.
Like, you know, we kind of start our own thing. You know, we help each other out. We, you know, we make our events, and then people are going to see that, man. And you know, because it's hard to get people to be like, hey, man, I'm telling you, if you look at this, it's not because it's mine. But if you watch this fucking podcast, this dude that I'm talking to or this chick, like they're fucking cool. Like listen to it. And they live here probably 10 minutes away from you, dude. You would have never have known, you know? And instead of you wasting your time looking at that blue check mark that it lives on the other side of the fucking, you know, out in fucking California or some shit, like look local, dude. Like there's some cool ass
even
people
regionally.
here.
Like I said, my buddies have that show up in Davenport, and I was gonna put that in the chat, be like, hey, I also know people that are regionally like doing this shit, just not here in town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, dog. I've got a plan. Once we decide on whatever we're doing, get ready, because I'm
down, dude.
I am going to I'm pulling in some favors and some strings, and I'm getting a big guest.
Hell
If we're
yeah.
doing a live thing, I'm gonna find a way to
Well,
hustle.
dude, that's
a
my
big
thing,
guest.
bro. So like some of my ideas, dude, it's like I kind of want to do like that, like not like Kill Tony type roasting shit, but like have like a big table on like a stage or some shit, and we're all up there, like
Yeah.
you know, shooting the shit, having people on, you know, doing like a live big podcast. You know what I
You
mean?
could do like a big round table thing, but then
Yeah.
also it could be doing. Everybody could do a thing of their show live.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
even if that means that we're doing it
Individually.
at different, it could be like a real festival where it's like, hey, we'll do it at Hillsiders, this place and this place. Maybe we do it all on Strawberry Hill, right?
Yeah,
And maybe, you know, then that way, here's this guy's here, that guy's there. You know what I mean? Something like that. Or there's that place that we do our rock and roll shows at.
Right.
You could do something there. But yeah, I think that's the vibe. It's like we also want to represent like each individual person's.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was
show.
hoping, like, you know, kind of have that fucking big table and we're all shooting the shit, you know, fucking talking to each other, you know, and just kind of just, you know, showing that, man, like, dude, we can all, you know, just fucking be cool with one another, man. We're all different backgrounds, all different walks of life. Like, no more of this fucking division bullshit that I see all the time. People fucking fighting and separating all this shit. Like, I want to show, even in the Kansas City, bro, like, we can all fucking just hang out and kick it and, you know, have a good time. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I've seen, you know, even being on, you know, starting this podcast, dude. It's like, I'm here meeting different people that I never thought I'd talk to, and you know they're not much different
like,
than me. You know,
like a crazy eclectic group of people on your show.
Man.
Like mine is a lot of focused, like heavily on art, heavily on automotive stuff.
But that's what's cool,
Lots
though.
of comedians. Like I'm tied into the comedy culture here because I know a bunch of the comedians.
But that's dope because then I can hit you up. I can be like, hey man, I kind of want to, you know,
I need a comedian.
I had a comedian on, Brock Bristow.
Okay,
and he's a cool ass dude. You know, I had him on, but like, yeah, I stay open. I'm not saying I don't really have a specific direction, but I don't knock people who do. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like you like that.
Well, no, I just
you
go
know?
with the flow on who it is. And then I always tell people, like, I've been on a thing of being like, I'd like to have more women on, but then it's like, also, it's like, every time I've booked one, they fucking end up canceling on it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I've had some too.
So it's like hard to like do that. And it's like, I don't want to make it just dudes on there, but like.
Yeah, but that's not your fault though. If you're trying, and you also have to have some sort, like you have to be able to communicate with them.
But I also get it from a women's point of view where it's like, well, this guy wants me to come to his house, and they don't understand, like, oh, I'm a single dad, my daughter is like 2 feet away from us while we're doing this. You're about to get roasted by a 15-year-old when you show up at my house. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's hard to do it when you don't have a spot, like an actual studio, dude. That's what I've been looking at, man. There's actually, I was talking to Michael, there's some places like down at the West Bottoms, dude, that aren't too expensive, you know, but you know, and I've even talked to him, like, you know, maybe we can figure something out, you know, and buy a space where, you know, you could split costs and stuff like that. Try to like save money, man. You know what
there's
I mean?
no like
you don't need
studio like
this is all you need right here. You know, you don't need much room. If
you could have like one building that has a bunch of them, but then you have to soundproof all the walls and everything.
Yeah, that's the only thing too. You got to worry about hours, like, you know, the work hours and all that shit. Like who's recording when, you know, that.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that, you know, go behind it, But yeah, man. Nah, dude. I appreciate it, man. You sitting down with me, dude. It's been fucking great,
I'm glad
man.
we finally did it. We talked about it forever.
Yeah, I know.
I really appreciate all your compliments and insight. And
yeah, it's been fun, man. I'll have to have you on again, man. You know. Whenever.
Oh yeah, we gotta get you over at the house now and have you coming down into the dungeon, as we like to call it. Yeah, at some point I gotta name the podcast, like the podcast part, just to like,
dude, keep it Black Magic.
I know,
man.
but in my head it's like there's some weird thing where like if everything has like, then I don't have to be like, well, it's the podcast part. Like I can just give it like a name, and then that will be the name, and then like when I do the car shit, that will have a name, and then like,
or it could all just be all Black Magic.
No, I
dude.
know. It can be whatever it is. It just is what it is. Just punk rock. That's just me over analyzing my own shit. That's what I'm my worst. I'm my own
dude. We all are, man.
Yeah, I'll critic. I you know.
You got anything coming up?
Next month, we're going to try to do an open house at the print shop. Like, that's a big thing we're pushing for. So that's why, like, before I came here, I was running networking cable to get to it because it's in this old warehouse on Strawberry Hill. But that'll be a big thing. And then in Memorial Day, we'll have the Boogie Down. World of Wheels is coming up, so I'll definitely be there.
Okay.
Probably going to film there again. I've enjoyed, like, that's sort of become a staple on the channel, I think. Last year, I had my buddy Anson, who, like, on my live streams, he kind of dresses up like a wizard and shit. He's the honorary Magi. Anson rules. I fucking love him. He's my neighbor.
What are you doing on the live streams?
Dude, sometimes we'll play games. Like, I'll play games. A lot of times, it got, like, heavy into, like, it was, like, movie club night where we were, like, I was like going through all like the trailers that were coming out.
Oh, really?
But then it got to where they kept fucking like shutting my stream down because I was showing these trailers and stuff. So it's just different shit. Like, dude, I could turn a fucking microphone on with the camera on and just talk to the chat. Like, I could just do that. I don't need to have nothing else. It could just be me.
See, that's one thing I haven't.
Like,
mastered,
I can remove.
Dude. That's hard.
Like, I could remove you, not in a negative way.
Yeah.
Like, if you weren't here, I could have this same conversation to a computer screen as though I was having it with you. Like, I could say the same shit, not have the conversation. But when you start getting, like, I started getting a little traction to where I was having, like, it doesn't seem like shit to people, but there'd be like 20 or 30 viewers concurrently from the time I started till the time I ended streaming.
Put 20 or 30 people in this room. That's a lot of people.
Right. That's a lot of people. Right. So
that's
like, and that's how you like do these things organically. And, and that's what happens. Like right now, I haven't got any subscribers recently, but I know it's because it's Christmas time and I haven't been really posting my videos as much, because they're only pushing like heavy content because it's like super ad revenue time for them.
Right.
Which also I understand that, but yeah. So I can just whatever. I'll do whatever. Like if I'll get on there and just like talk shit for an hour and then be like, okay, cool. Like that's it for the week, guys. I'll see you next week.
That's pretty dope.
But like, you have to like to make it into something. That's a whole other grind. That's like a daily thing.
Yeah.
Where you log in like every day, every couple days, and make it a grind.
Yeah.
And I might get there at some point. We're working on some shit at the print shop where we can go live from there. We've been trying to go live on Instagram at the print shop and do different things. But yeah, so you know, it's just what fucking.
So you got the t-shirt business
got
starting
the t-shirt.
Up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, and then on social media, everything is either Black Magic TV or it's Zoinkpad, PAD. That's all the social media, and then the YouTube's at Black Magic TV. However, YouTube does their shit now. YouTube.com/@ just look up Black Magic, but spell it with a K. And
do you have a personal Instagram?
Me?
Yeah, or is it just under all Black Magic stuff?
That's it. That is my personal.
Yeah, because you have your name on there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Tyler, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
no, that's my. That's the. I've only ever when Instagram.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Started,
I was like, "Where's his personal account?" I was like, "Oh, I think he's just under." I was like, "That's why his name's
I don't
there."
need it. I don't need no. I don't need that. I got
you're right.
fucking. I have a secret Instagram.
You got a burner one?
No, not a burner one. I'll tell you about that off
air.
I'm gonna get back to doing it, but it started becoming popular, and it became a thing, and I like people don't know that it's me, so I don't. But I need to go back to doing it again.
I'm waiting to hear that one.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up, dude. I'm trying to hear that story.
Hey guys, thanks for watching To Bring About Podcast.
Hey, I appreciate it, Tyler.
Yeah, like that's what like I never know how to end them either, and that's how I always do it. And it was like, yeah, okay, well, you know, we'll see you fucking next time or something.